the sharpest comparison here, near the African Games.
In
terms of attendance in the year, but a number of the major events, also endangerment. In the endangerment, a very good measurement of the attendance, because then you be 100 meters final, no, and Barnum Bema,
okay,
and these are like the highlights of the event, In the everybody 5-6 muha, share how the attendance will be. Now say it remains Senate yes there. They say it publicity now. And one said which has caused the low patronage, but Obinenso they are so too high and they say tika for the games, as the release, because they are pick here, they made them also to pick here and they say tika the dona and then almost into the release of the funds, I say it was just about 40 million budgeted for the games,
Yes.
And when releasing in terms. Now, the FNSF and Afghanistan are releasing Amsterdam Bank. That's the report I pick here. And so, and especially based on issues na AC and Grano, and I say I'm paying for no Mankika on wow, which me other resources, which me releasing out the BR, it's me also very convenient. You see, ministry, no, there, what you say. No, a very hand tight. I actually a lot of the things, and I say pre-financing and I contracted in the but you cannot omit to be a release and there at least a lot of the issues, they are trying to resolve it.
Now, tournament there for how many days?
Just about 1 week until every and there copy the 19th of May.
Okay.
And so just about 7 days tournament.
Wow. I mean, the last championship I hosted here, which is the African Games, and how would you rate the CCA?
I mean, just based on NEC, Endra, and the first day, because African Games, the quarantine, I mean, there were issues. There were a lot of issues.
Yes.
Issues now, but just like the AC and Grano, issues in the back, then they work on it. There's a little too much reactiveness. Proactiveness, I said, I don't know what the problem is, but reactiveness, if the issues in the back, then they are attended to. Issues in the back, they are attended to. So, some of the issues I experiencing and Grano, almost similar. But during Afghan Games, man said I don't see any concerns about Adriane. To be honest, there are concerns about Adriane, and it looks like we may have to want them. But based on Yayaku and then Adriane issue, see who they are, and then Omar resolving their fine. But there were no complaints about the food. In the comparison, it's day by day because African Games, they do baby crap or not athletes, equipment the Korea Games in crowd. They had
now
Obi and the crowd. Minister, only poll voter there. Any crossy bano.
Sure.
Poll vote.
Sure.
Athletes may know they are more poll vote. Say, of course, we video now. Oyana, I didn't buy that poll vote. The answer and say, ain't it better any buye? Oh, yes, we are unable to. Back here, Ivory Coast, near back here, Benini. And I said two no buye. And they really very concerned. Say poll vote, so I didn't you could now hear now poll vote to me. Go poll vote no way to me kwan away. But wait there. Who said a buya? I am was very scary because any buya no anka between athletes no. In the NOC area, I mean, say hopefully going forward they will look at it. Some better poll votes are already Jumana and they change them. But now so yeah, they are AC and they're very concerned about.
Now say athletes name Pradie.
Was it?
Mr. Athletes on my impra.
Either be over Pradie because home no in the Ebu and Odiano Ecotobi and almost phone. No, so but what me say no very uncomfortable because most of them they are not used to this. Say what the poll votes, what did Diano ye na Busano because Diano he has to be very flexible. Now project now it's me but because ni Benini na buye now share video now a page so very scary but I say about to me more another one I want to me do a competition so those were the only issues but I want to me resolve it and I moved on.
Very well. Ain't it? But then how would you any na who pow? I mean, Oba. Let me say how would you any na who? It looks very, very scary.
Oh yeah. I mean, so we checked video very closely. It was quite scary because then I mean, the proximity to his area was quite close. I mean, anything can happen, but fortunately, nothing happened, and they only replaced it, and but because the point is that you don't often see these things happen in major competitions. Well, so it was just unfortunate, but they quickly replaced it, and the competition ended.
But how big is that competition? We answer then senior athletics championship.
Oh yeah, very big, very very big. The athletics competitions are.
Yes.
The athletics competitions are the whole Africa. This is I say AFCON.
Oh, okay.
I say athletics move AFCON. So
okay.
I say athletics move AFCON. It is the biggest athletics event on the continent. It's now called the World Athletics. So it's a very important. The clearest comparison ever we na football move AFCON. So it's a very big event.
Wow. Very well. Musba to the Koswadi at Bibiani about hobby. Why?
Yo,
that's it. Into Joy Sports journalist Razak Musbao and Motenin can reporting live from the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. I mean, it's down to releases. No, athletes minuna or more poll vote do you ye show first one second one nso na ye show which was a wudua ebu wa hangi akɔwie modua ne dua ne bu a eyiu eto baabi to say bibi no it doesn't really look good, but hopefully said they all can challenge us, and when they come up they are resolved na for yetimi atwa. So there were a number of interviews ye be sign aye na before that there is going to be a book launch into happy birthday to little Jaden in Germany, Bremen, from your rich auntie Amadumpe. God bless you and keep you. I love you. Into Jaden or Germany, Bremen, one Amadumpe se Oma Awoda pa. Happy birthday. But Ora Desmond Darkon, studio, a CEO, Young D Company Limited. And he's also founder of the company. Na watro book. Book no ye be launch enche bi ento no wa ha ye be di book no you want to listen to this interview na fi yetimi atoa so orada kwa aba etesen obi meje so bibia ye boko adom ye danyame ase papa enti Desmond Darko ye hwan a brief intro about you. Desmond Darko ye hwan
obi mamincha na mincha watifo nyina said the odi kan boss no. Desmond Darko CEO of Young D Company.
Okay.
Na Young D Company company bia ye ton petrol.
Oh.
Like
a fuel company.
It's a fuel filling station. They run filling stations.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Na I shall say every baby na Yankopon ya adom ya ba be do ahanum say.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Minister for na year juma for almost 19 years now.
Only Shell Juma as a senior manager na.
Me started as a pump attendant.
It was Shell.
Shell, one of the Shell's
filling stations. No, okay.
I mean to me for
oh.
But say kakra me boy home when ya call all the ranks in the Musa na.
From fuel attendant, no.
Yes, and
I'll be there. Manager.
Be supervisor.
Supervisor.
Sana wako site manager.
Okay.
And Sana from site manager. And I'm about to do dealer now say retailer.
Oh, it is here no. We a retailer on your own. Wow, private retail company.
But
you started as a pump attendant. Oh, yes. Wow, that's interesting. And that means that we school now acquire pump attendant no.
Maybe school need they said school they say it was stages. Depending on baby I meet me could do
yeah.
But say Davu from a opportunity I'm a ban ye be kan ho.
Ye be kan no ho nsem.
Yes, senior high school no crama ntimi anwi. but then Yankopon Madu baby I'm person me do.
That's interesting. I would want to believe, sir, motivation for writing this book near our life story.
Yes, I mean life experience and the passion I want my automobile industry, no.
Okay.
And then the love for Mother Ghana. And anything I'm the trust book.
Oh.
Obi won say I'm paying bebre no. If you say this when you scan sana watoka. Say sa narrative na sasa. Say car I buy necessity. Obi ahia car ye the car di adwuma bebre. Na say obetimi the car di adwuma bebre a e wo say wote said you use cars. And sana wetimi anya comforter e de be ma wana say buta intia wo de talk car no wetimi ensa onsa atimi aka.
Yes.
Na say onsa betimi aka so dia I say who said they will be maintaining your car. I will say who said they'll be repair your cars. And I will say who baby I'll be told fuel, or quite I'll be far, I'll be told fuel, so any fool would be good come netimia apple for me, you know. And this and my saying now, and me life experience, maybe a core industry, and I'm putting it together.
And I put it together.
And I made
a book basically on automobiles, right?
A book basically on automobile, and this is the first time. Getting will be a actual comprehensive book about automobile industry.
Book in the title here,
but your book in the title, The Hidden Cost of Car Ownership.
The Hidden Cost of Car Ownership. Oh.
If you say, oh, share and your man, maybe boss, yeah, we can say. Car dear, you talk. You say, or say, talk fuel. Ubeka say, talk. Or say, himself, or say, obey repairs.
Yes.
Obey maintenances. But there are some costs to be so one pay attention and obey and care. When you
car liability, it is a hidden cost. No, now person man for you.
Me pacho, and no, I'm person me de two jama ubia. Said the bear ubia uisuke biano.
Ubenya and fasopa. As a nye cost nenye me change oil na me ko change me way in kwa.
Pacho,
there are some other costs that people be bringing in.
I drain maso. Because I could change oil no, na se one fan ko baby pa, and I say one ma weni under hwa. There are costs be obey me and care or hwa. Why doing Emma? Any can say one care sa cost no. Nti who the rule na me bo na say
through this book.
Sanity.
The Hidden Cost of Car Ownership.
Yes. Kakra me I can't fa hu bi mo say book when you book I be apportion blames. A book educating Ghana for
solutions.
Yeah, car. Yes, we are providing solutions. And yes, Becca say, Ebia, Oko filling station. Obi, Nancy, I start to say, me book who them. Betty, now a bit no more car. You say, Oko filling station. Otofu now Tony in liters. You perceive you are intimate. You are. We used to say, how do you call MPA for?
Yes.
And a set levels, no. And yes, sanity, and you know, obi, and you know, uko tofu or filling station. That's it. Ubi adjusting the pump. Whether you buy it in amount or liters, you know. So,
obi.
And me person me count on record and say, and your MP for and a set pump levels, no ma filling station operators.
So no a standard authority.
A standard cranium. They only verify. But a pump mechanism and a set into almost 30 years. Almost be set here. Almost to me. I was standard board for. Almost to me. No almost set here. We are not supposed to touch the pump until say standard board for about verify. And sana, to me at the pump and I did you might say. But I'm saying I'm in dear you or Sanima with and you know no be. I can't be at home from mom say we say but your sanity. And in Tibuki, a book be said the medical car and ever be the Katie Ghana phone. And to say walker will be our dica who do not be I was set Obamania now on Saka Sabuki. Now a beboa.
Wow. And I don't know, say a private car, a commercial vehicle, or unya book will be a beboa.
Pacho. Say private or commercial, we hear say book. In fact, book na nyese fuel ni repair say nkwao. Ya kama ekwan road accident is seen now. Kwan was say faso. The role was a government ni play. Role was an individual so say play. Drivers say play. Say the be bit me avoid this accident. Ni nyina ewom. Emba so HFM bebre wom. Say I am paying bebre no. Emba ekitaka na say bibi kitu bi nya to o pe no ma park unless am afre mechanic ya chire enema wo book nu a se woko ukita car na se bia onya problems petty problems you don't need to call mechanic. You can your bar you can fix the car yourself. Sana
well, that is a very resourceful book. Inti launch near da ben
nyame adoma echine ya
tina na mo launch book no ewo hefa
launch no ewo CFA Mercedes Benz almost showroom ho
sure
but your airport
no Silver Star
but you dey be Silver Star this omuni Silver Star move akọ CFA ho
okay
airport bypass
yes me ho in the honor launch ne be so air time man
nyame adoma 1 p.m.
1 p.m. area obi at me be na we strictly by invitation
by invitation
okay
but obi to say obi ayaba on chain
menim
say ba omis yaba ide we pay the invite you invite na echinanzo wo do nyama ba beta lunch next
sure that's nice and they say after lunch na mo be kire baby ayepe book ni bi ato aye benya bi on
me patcho right after the lunch no ye the contact so we pay bi ato obefre de beto edwa na the digital platform is nyina baby a o pay bi ato obetimi anya booth audio ni bibia yeah the nyina
betu jam obi en ho benti so oba YouTube live stream na obi hu the hidden costs of car ownership. That's the book. And first of its kind in our country, a must-have book. We a car owner, both private, commercial. We hear book be say now how I open money because auto car near one thing and managing the car to make sure there may liability and for money another thing. But you need to read. I was say all that information is in a book and book near the hidden cost of car ownership. And you need a copy of this book. Now it's me read it. A companion who took quiet down chain. Bibia no of a book no shame fall to a amount how to go about it any Bibia. Now I think you've done a really good job. I mean book be saying me who be empenny semda. And you've done very well. Eba yenina ebe kind and then a brano no yenu edi home komo. Why? We wish you very well. Yamin Shao. Bibia ne ebe science wa kasabio. Why? Yes. Enti obeka bibi kakra on. Enti peja microphone ni mo. Yes. Oye Emmanuel, is it Nuete?
That's right, sir.
Oh, Emmanuel Nuete. Okay, nti o boss aka nsem ni nyina den na wo di e twa to me pa cho.
You kakra mi di twa to say. Our asem ni say book we said ya odi kan say akoye bibi wanwaso something new. Uhia no. Yenya empa ho ntumampo no. Yensaka one of the assembly plants, automobile assembly plants in Ghana.
Okay.
Already no omonian edinsa was said e be omobeje book no in bulk.
Oh wow.
Na omodi omaka omo manuals na eba with every vehicle you purchase from them. Which say omankasa ehun say book no nsema ewo mu no emudru na ade e beboa obi biara owo car ana waye na adwin say okotoka.
Okay.
Inti kakra to amensu mi de
kan o de be ka ho no
ehia say obi bia bomodin say ye nya pa ho ntoma na obe baby biara ye de betu dwa say okwa obenya book ni bi no bomodin ana ko ho
na ko copy book ni bi very well yeah that's papa oi I mean sure yeah that's Ekosiisen so ne higher Asempa 94.7 FM ain't the hidden costs of car ownership. It's a must-have book. But more than say, nyame adoma ochina oho obra. You would attend the launch, get a copy for yourself, and then we see how it goes. And then so no, we have another big interview. Yene the Penya Oda NPRA, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. It's the agency that regulates pensions in Ghana. Penya Oda no eba be kan yen ho e wo studio ha na fe yene ono nso adi nkomo. We want to understand what that authority does, how are they regulating pensions in our country and matters arise ebedi ni nyina ho enkomo. But me the kind the Cocoa Processing Company Limited story be eto manim Theodore Saki a principal cocoa superintendent my no enkasa Theodore Akwaba etesɛn
me pacho me hoye
bibi ekoyi
pacho say
bibi aboko de
bibi ayeboko nyame ado
yeah da nyame ase but what are we hearing? I mean audit report we know when the commission say Ghana Audit Service emra meye audit we.
Oh, okay. Me pacho Ghana Audit Service every year audit on CPC's accounts. Yeah, auditors, you know, they were brought in by the company to come and audit the company.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
Management now the tones are free auditors, no.
Me pacho, as far as I know. Yeah.
Now, sir, the shop in question, no.
Yeah.
A shop there. Who owns that shop?
Okay. Me pacho, CPC Workers Consumer Shop Cooperative, you know, a workers welfare shopper are running in CPC from 2003 till date. The reason why the shop was set up was to help the workers in their welfare issues. See, the omo say omo to chocolate ni bi, no maton, any cocoa products ni bi, na omo nya margins also. Na margins, you know, or much my workers, you know, the workers can have some benefits.
It meaning, sir, the company no make products not available in the shop.
That you workers, you know, you chocolate, you know, every company, you know,
and it's the same thing. The company make chocolate not available. No matter what shop or any other.
That be company, you know, it will sales pattern. Omoton chocolate,
okay.
Distributors, individuals, some person omoton chocolate. Workers, also cooperative shopper, almost chocolate, maybe. No, almost ton.
Omakoton, a cooperative shop name.
Me patron, a cooperative shop. No. Workers have access to come and buy. Outsiders also have access to come and buy.
Oh, ain't workers no cooperative union no, and a creative shop. It is also motor company. No matter beton was our shop name. And I'm on shop no. Why am I about shop name beton? I'm workers.
Oh, patron workers, outsiders. You know, since it's a welfare program, the company has always supported it.
Oh, okay.
On my space or outside in front of the company. There is a container shop for fair. You just come and then you come and buy the product because company and ton chocolate in chip boxes. Omoton in cartons is wholesale price.
Yes.
This will be person to be a
oh, that's interesting. One Kasano a staff of cocoa processing company and I say we are Jumama workers union.
PMS chairman. It's also a vice chairman of the consumer shop.
We are vice chairman of the consumer shop.
In CPC committees BIA Yama management, the chairmanship position. Yama senior staff, the vice position. Yama junior staff, the secretary or a member. This is the history here. That's what we do all the time in every committee.
Shop no, because shop no premises of CPC no. It is muntia rent be on the shop.
Me patcho da be into rent.
Muntia rent on the shop.
Into water, into rent. This is not only the welfare initiative in the factory. We also have a credit union. It's also in the factory, and also the entire rent. It's because of the good relationship all past managers have had with us. This is what they also do to help all of us.
Yes. Now me share a list of interdicted staff. No. I say Udi Omu.
Me patcho I meeting. Like let me say, you've never heard the CPC union on radio in any form, but we know your integrity is at stake. We have family, and I think everybody has to know the truth. The way you're sending information to all the press is CTFM for Fred. So almost when you release I interdicted. We just received the letters about an hour or two ago, and it's all over the place. It's strange. And we also have to come out so that the truth will be known.
Yeah, but over Yeah, over 4.3 million. No, what's the story behind that? Asempa.
Okay, into me pacho. Your shop, no. If you come to the factory and you look into our books, it's a mutually beneficial relationship with the company, and it has been so for a very long time. The company, when they are hard pressed for cash, always comes to the consumer shop, and then we give them prepayment, and then later they give us product. And then later they give us product. We came onto the committee in 2023 January as the union reps. In that time, management will write a request for their various projects, and then they come for money from us. And we also go to the sales place and take chocolate. And see, they came for money to take care of the welfare of workers, to buy certain machinery, to pay for certain services. And I answer you chocolate of that amount. So before the former administration left, we sat down under the auspices of the former managing director. He told the finance and administration director to carry out a reconciliation with the consumer shop. When that reconciliation was done, we saw that we don't owe each other. Until they signed a reconciliation document at that home. Fast forward, they were removed from office. Until new administration auditors audit and in their books, who say consumer shop need the omoka 4.3 something million. In that audit, they said the consumer shop should the company should make sure to take the money from the consumer shop. And this is the reconciliation document signed by the former finance and administration director. And we showed them the document. They wrote once, they wrote twice. The third time, they wrote to us individually, all the committee members. And I had a response in the moment said, in our books, we don't owe. Because of our case, we conducted an extensive forensic audit. We went for a B1 rated audit firm, ABJ Consult, to audit our books from 2023 to 2025. And that report was just presented to all the workers yesterday, on Tuesday. Yes. Where we were given, well, our account was qualified. There was no crime. All the memos, all the documents that were written were fully presented. Intimate Pacho, nobody owes 4.3 million Ghana.
Nobody owes because a more advanced company imagine in product.
And in product. And there's a reconciliation document to that effect. Nobody has asked us.
The auditors need access to sir reconciliation document.
The MD wrote to us and we sent him that document. Whether he gave it to the auditors or not, it's not in our purview.
But the auditors didn't contact you.
No, not at all. The auditors never came to the shop to audit us. The shop accounts and operations is totally separate from the accounts and operations of CPC. Totally. We are not part of DPC's account. The MD has nothing to do with our account. It's a totally separate organization. The auditors have not. The auditors from the state have not audited the consumer shop in any way, shape, or form. They audited the company. They saw the debt. Actually, they raised two issues. The company always has, for about 20 years, has seconded one of its staff to the consumer shop. That's how close the relationship has been. Very mutually beneficial. You can come here, interview all the workers, and they will tell you the good things that the consumer shop has done for the company and the very good things the company has also done for the consumer shop. It was until recently that this antagonistic behavior came up.
Wow.
Yes.
Because now me share the audit report, no, Ankasa.
Okay.
Anyway, management letter of Cocoa Processing Company Limited.
Okay.
Now, under excessive indebtedness of CPC Consumer Shop to company, 4.373 million Ghana cedis. So I must say, this paragraph 184, Regulation 46A of Public Management Regulation 2019 states, quote, a principal spending officer shall ensure that non-tax revenue is efficiently collected, unquote.
Okay.
We observed during the period of our audit that workers' union operates a consumer shop within the premises of the company. The union purchases some of the company's product and sells them to the public at profit. For the ending 30th September 2025, the consumer shop was indebted to the company to the tune of 4.37 million Ghana cedis as of September 2025 for products supplied. We again found out that the consumer shop, which operates from a container on the premises of the company, does not pay for rent, water, and electricity supply. The finances of the company could be hindered if receivables are not promptly recovered. We urged management to ensure that the infractions never recur. Notwithstanding, we further recommended to the following to management. A. Management should recover the total receivables from the union as soon as possible. And B, management must ensure that rent is collected for the consumer shop as well as water and electricity supply henceforth. Management has written to the committee in charge of the consumer shop to demand for the indebtedness of the company. Currently, there is a reconciliation ongoing to ascertain the exact amount owed by the consumer shop to the company after they protested. In this year, reconciliation is here.
Reconciliation here. Even when they wrote to us, we asked them that they should come so that they do a reconciliation with us. Nobody has written to us. And now in that statement you read, there are some falsehoods that we have to correct. The consumer shop is for all staff, not only unions. We have the local union, we have the senior staff union, which is the PMSU.
Okay.
And we have management. All of us own the shop. It's not only a union shop.
Okay.
So that will clearly tell you that the auditors have not asked us anything about the consumer shop. They have not. Number two, they are saying that excessive indebtedness. This excessive indebtedness, I've explained to you, there's a reconciliation document signed by the Finance and Administration Director of CPC. Is there, and the trustee of the consumer shop.
Which document you claim, sir, current MD no copy?
He has a copy because he's asked for it 3 times, and we've sent it to him 3 times. And we've also written, said, so if they want, they can bring their person. We also bring our person, our shop finance person. They sit down and they go through the reconciliation that was done. They go through the reconciliation that was done. Senior, let me tell you, the consumer shop, every check that is signed from the consumer shop, there are 3 categories of people that sign the check. You have the patrons, you have the chairman and the trustee, and you have the unions. All these 3 people must agree before any money is taken out of the consumer shop. Nobody can just go to the consumer shop and take any money. That is why we conducted a 3-year audit. We went for a B1 rated audit firm. They charged us an amount of 98,000 Ghana cedis for the 3-year audit, so that they go through every document we have to see if anybody has touched any money in there. Now, we have not been queried. Nobody has queried any of us. Nobody has imbued that we have done anything illegal. We are covered by the collective agreement of ICU, and there are processes that shows how you interdict anybody. Nobody wrote to us that we are being queried. We were written to that we owe. What is our explanation? We said, according to our books, we do not owe you. And the very next day, there's an interdiction letter. And the letter is spread over all the newspapers.
All the
newspapers.
Press. Yeah.
As if we are a group of criminals.
Because Osha letter now, the interdiction letter now, paragraph 4 makes the point, sir. Okay, paragraph 3, in implementing the recommendation from the auditors, no.
Okay.
Management at Romamo, sir, you should respond to some. Also, for your explanation to some of the infractions.
Okay.
They received your response, went through the response, and according to them, no, the matter remains unresolved, and that a formal investigation is necessary to arrive at a justifiable conclusion and to furnish the audit service with a comprehensive response.
Okay. So before you interdict us, there's a process.
Okay.
First, you write a query. Mr. Theodotaki, you are responsible for this and this and this. Why? Explain why you shouldn't be punished.
Why you shouldn't be punished, yes.
Yes. Nobody has written me such a letter. The letter I was written to as the vice chairman of the consumer shop.
Yes.
Which has nothing to do with the company. Even if you look into it, our shop manager, who is not paid by the company, is paid by us, has also been interdicted. Your shop no.
No, you're employee of the company.
Dabi. Formerly, he was an employee. But now he's no more an employee. The consumer shop pays him. He has also been interdicted. Now, the chairman of the consumer shop and the patron of the consumer shop, that's Mr. Abibio and Madam Genevieve, they just took over this December. Just this December, they were brought to the consumer shop. So if there's a debt that the auditors have found for the year 2025 September, they had nothing to do with it. So why are you interdicting them? What have they done? Because when the reconciliation was done, they were not there. When the reconciliation was done, they were not there. But I don't want to say certain things that already this company is not in a good place. We don't have a good name. So most of the time we are quiet. But the things going on is not right.
And the stock taking, and the stock taking, Ukobi.
Oh, yeah, stock taking in crying, yeah.
Omugusu Omoye.
Stock taking in crying, yeah. If you want, I can give you the audit done by ABJ Consult on our consumer shop. I'll send it to you. But there is nothing in there. The interdiction that was done has not followed procedure. You have to query me, and I have to give you a response. Nobody has impugned any crime. I don't think that is a crime. If all they had to do was call us, we all sit down, we go through the reconciliation, and then we see whether we were telling the truth or we were lying, that these things were done. He also asked management that the former MD and the former FMA, they are there. Why don't you call them to come and check the veracity of what we are talking about? Did they sign the documents or did they sign the document? Sorry. Did they sign the document or they didn't sign the document? Nobody has done that. Nobody has done that. But this, we know, is just portraying the point. Because we are union chairmen and we are really disliked by the administration. These are the things that will be done. But we are fine.
Mafia,
senior. I don't want to add anything to it. There's mafia. I will stand on my feet. There has been no crime.
Yeah, because even if say I was saying kamuye payment be my company no, and amunye ye kra ne car bar. A car no basis for anybody to be interdicted.
A car require interdiction. And the auditors, it's not only us who owe. A lot of people also owe, but I can't put their names out there. Then go and interdict them also.
Yeah.
You have not imbued that we have committed crime. If you want to do the investigation, the MD asks for financials of the consumer shop. Since this shop started, we have done bookkeeping. It's bookkeeping we have been doing because it's buy and sell. This MD comes and says he wants financials. And so we give him the financials. We go and pay auditors to give us audited financial report. Stress the pressure we put on the auditors this past 2 months. And we've sent copies of everything that has happened also to the board chairman. We have not committed any crime. The chairman and the patron that have been interdicted, they just took office in December. They know nothing about this, what's the name? Even the reconciliation.
Yeah.
They know nothing about it.
Yeah.
They know nothing. You know, and today we have to calm down the workers. Police people were brought to come and sack 9 people, 7 people were interdicted. Police people were brought to come and take away the 2 union chairmen. Police people, since CPC started work, nobody has ever brought police here. We have never beaten anyone before. There has been no violence in our demonstrations. Police people were brought here to come and sack us from the company because we owe.
Wow. Mate, it's a running story. We'll come back to you now.
Yes, but maybe issue before you run any story, because right now our reputations are out there. Our wives, our children, our church members, our societies where we are well respected. All they heard is, CPC workers have been interdicted, 4.3 million. I just went online, and the things I saw there, only 7 people. You've chopped all this money. Yeah. Nobody has sat down with us to do any reconciliation.
For us as journalists, what we do is to make sure all parties involved in any story, fair shot. We read audit findings, and that is our job as journalists. Fairly, we've given you the opportunity. BB Asempa app, we'll call you again.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, that's
sure, I'm very grateful for the time. Thank you.
Very well. Ekosiisen On Asempa FM. It's a very interesting story. I bet so back to this particular story again. But let's talk pensions. Komoa ehia papa Ghana for be brinano yeka pension ade onima ne snet mitua me snet ede onima ne so on the no ye pension ba wonim say pensions emrano 3-tier pension and ye running e Ghana inti tier 1 tier 2 tier 3 but the state institutional or more regulatory pensions in Ghana the National Pensions Regulatory Authority NPRA. Penny Odano Christopher Buedi Mensa wabekansa studio ha. Chris akwabana ete saying
medase
Bibia Boko
Good
afternoon NPRA Boko Oye ni nyesa obekasa wo ye Boko awo nya Boko za
so mo ba kwa musatu aswa
interesting. Anyways, that's a set what me about the Kayensa for Obia Orte NPRA for the first time. National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Juma Bay na moye.
Medase. Will be before Sabeka your mandate now.
Yes.
My main church in Yomu Kakra, say be ya TF4 ebete Juma see. Fine. In the finance sector no, there are 4 regulators.
Okay.
Your banking.
Okay.
Bank of Ghana.
Bank of Ghana, yes.
And your National Insurance Commission.
Sure.
Insurance
companies. Okay.
And your Security and Exchange Commission. Almost share capital market.
Yeah, capital market.
And then we have National Pension Regulatory Authority. Yes, we have share pensions and Asem and the retirement and
okay.
So in the finance sector, there are 4 regulators, including Bank of Ghana, NIC, SEC, and MPRA. MPRA, your mandate, your mandate, say, we supervise, we regulate effective administration of pensions schemes in this country under the National Pensions Act 28 at 766.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They are not just both private and public pension schemes
anything pensions your responsibility need be when it comes to policy and reform of pension industry advice government as to how to actually do this. You should lance a similar boot the trust corporate trustees, farm managers, custodians, and the schemes. Then we ensure that the system is very transparent to actually for them to run their business. Then we so yes, I say retirement security is actually upheld to, and the pension act itself.
It is I mean it's I mean the Ghana need your pensioner Ghana need them SNET. Mona mo regulate SNET.
Regulate SNET.
So teachers union be started ABR provident fund be we adwumem ho just to protect our pensioner and also our mobile ho.
Register or more near boots the scheme and then the memberships register regulate. First we give them the lances and they will regulate and ensure say the system is effectively running and all that. Wow. Very interesting.
It's not just for such an authority, more offices across the country
the art mandate say I was here region bia your district bia but about 9 regions.
9 regions.
We call them zones.
Zonal offices.
Yes. You're operating from. This year, I say B2 Akahon. We'll go to 2 different regions this year.
And in regulating pensions, there be a mini pension scheme be a juma. Na omoye nyoma bi fa me pemani nye ho. Metimi be report wo mo.
Be a pension be some impossibility. Ubaka says so no crow, you be nasa on power, but I catch them here, Shane 7 and invite to a money whom dear Cosso. And so because pension as a beer, the sick 7 in Sanyankai, and there are challenging they come to us all the time. Naya from ensure say or more. I had your summer year.
Who take he over no be when you 1 year?
Almost 1.5 years.
Almost 1.5 years.
About 1 year, 4 or 5 months. I came in January.
Into what was the state of NPRA? Who take it over? No, say who take it over? And you can't say my report on NPRA. Okokotoya. Now it's saying.
Well, so you take over. You come from the financial perspective. Obeka say 2025. We grew by about 26%.
That's in the year 2025.
25, we grew by asset under management. Went up by
26%. My figures, no, asset under management, are saying
now about 79 point something billion, almost
billion Ghana cedis.
And now we put you 108.8 billion
Ghana cedis.
That is assets under management. So and I regulate.
You can't asset under management for the lay person, no? So SNET for pension sika SNET for
shesu no and the pension sika private
people shesu now can and
8.8
billion Ghana cedis. It is a say aban bi na dwen say okay me person me use pension sika ediye bibia aban will access to 108 billion Ghana cedis asset under management. Is that the case?
Asset under management over 100 something billion. But buying into me.
The example
that is the money that is available.
That's fine. Okay. Into over from almost 80 billion to in 1 year, no much media over 100 billion.
My moderate to severe ulcerative colitis symptoms kept me out of the picture. Skyrizi helps deliver symptom relief as early as 4 weeks and is proven to help deliver visible colon lining repair and remission.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or UC.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi.
Good morning, good morning. Hallelujah. Good morning, Fresh Oil family. It's good to see all of you today in the mighty name of Jesus. Pray that you are all well and that you are in good spirits today. I want to encourage you to, as we always do, like the stream, share it with a friend. Amen. We're going to engage in the presence of the Holy Spirit. We're going to sit and adore Jesus. That's why we're here. And so I want to encourage you just to be still in his presence. Amen. Do me a favor, like the stream. I think I already said that. Share it. And let's engage with God's presence today. Remember, don't approach him in a Unitarian lens. It's not you groveling to God. Enter into that Trinitarian love, which means God in Christ reconciled you. He brought you into his presence, not through your works, but through the working of the Son of God. You are in the Son of God. You are in God the Son. Amen. So your relationship is all in him. The awareness of the presence of God is all in him. Everything is in Christ. Amen. Hallelujah. Let's worship the Lord. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise your name. We are in the Son of God. We are in God the Son. In him we move, we breathe, we have our being in him. We live in the Son of God. We're not beggars groveling towards God. We are in the Son of God. We are in him, and through his blood and by his broken body, we have access to God, the Father. The fullness of the Godhead, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Hallelujah.
You're higher than the heavens, higher than the heavens, and we worship you. We worship you.
Blessings, Jennifer. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We honor you. We give you glory. We give you praise.
I've been waiting for this since the 1950s. In this box is a robotic lawnmower, destined to fulfill the promise, more time for leisure. Those are really big instructions. All right, that thing is pretty darn cool looking. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and follow these really big instructions. So I'm not 100% sure how this thing works yet, but I don't know, we're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be great. So the physical setup's already complete. That took no time. These great big instructions were helpful. Create a map. Okay. All right. We're gonna go. It's Saturday morning. I got a couple little brown dog coffee and I'm about to cut the lawn in my slippers. So right here on my phone, I select my device, which I call Future Space Robot. Tell it where I want it to go. Hit mow.
Attention, lawnmower starting now.
Look at it go. It's actually the first time I've ever used it, so we're gonna see how it does. But I've got the blade height set pretty high because my grass is pretty high, but it's all adjustable. It's all adjustable in the app. You can adjust blade height, blade speed, and the speed of the mower all in the app. But look at this. This is sketchy on the riding lawnmower. Like, if you're not careful and you turn the wrong way, especially on the old Murray that I have, it might throw you off. So we're just gonna let this do its thing, and then we might do another pass a little lower. I just wanted to give the old robot a fighting chance on this kind of wet grass because it's still dewy in the morning. Oh, look at it go. So in this area right here, we had a tree taken out, so the topography changes every year. That was a mushroom. My mom gave me that sundial thing. I'm gonna leave it right there as an obstacle to see how our Limo Future Space Robot handles it. Interesting. Got about 6 inches from it and said, nah. So here I am, having a couple little brown dog coffee. That thing's doing the job. Look at me, not cutting the lawn. So I love retro futuristic stuff, and in the 50s, the promise of these things was with more leisure time, you know? We blew it. We Americans, we work too much, man. All we did was figure out how to take the time savings and apply it to more work, because we're a bunch of dummies. So as long as this thing's a mowing, I'm not gonna be working. I'm taking it back. I mean, if you think about it, the automatic clothes washer, the automatic dishwasher, they delivered those. It took another 70 years to get this guy, and I'm not gonna make the same mistake by turning that time savings into more work time. Literally in my slippers. So this is the Limo 1 Plus, and it's got a dual rotary blade system and cyclone airflow cutting system, which help it pull the grass to stand upright, kind of like a traditional mower. A lot of the robot mowers on the market use this 4 razor blade spinny system. And if you work with razor blades like I do, you know, daily work life, you know they're not good for more than a couple of cuts. Right now I've got the moving speed at 2 feet a second, cutting height 2.4 inches, blade speed is standard. I'm inclined to crank the blade speed to power and drop the cutting height down to 2 inches and see how it does, because it's handling this really well.
Attention, lawnmower starting now.
Wow. It's early and you can see the grass is still kind of wet and it's still doing it. It's actually pretty fun to try to dial it in because the settings are easily adjusted and you like watch it work and it's doing a great job, but it's hitting grass that's 6 inches tall and, well, some wild onions that are 12 inches tall. And it's all kind of still wet with morning dew. And you know, as a first pass for like the first cut on an overgrown lawn, it's great. And all I'm doing is drinking coffee. So that's showing 30 degrees. It completed its first pass, wet grass, tall grass, and did a pretty darn good job. The edges are my bad mapping, but it is now returning itself to the dock to charge. I'm gonna go to another pass later when everything's dry and see if we do a finishing cut and see what it looks like. I'm thoroughly impressed so far. So this did so well out here. I'm gonna try to map it in the neighbor's yard and build a channel, and they got more obstacles than I do. And again, I'm just doing this intuitively off the app. There is an instruction book, but it's all pretty clear so far. All right, I would say this yard may present a bit more of a challenge. Got some odd shaped gardens and a garden in the center. So right there, I've created the new map, just drove it around, pretty simple, and then created a no-go zone. Again, I haven't read the instructions actually. I'm just intuitively following what makes sense in the app. You know, it's just kind of working out that way. So I am now going to try to mow this yard with the lawnmower. I even created a channel between the two yards on the lower end of the driveway where nobody parks. So let's see how it goes. Select the zone, hit mow. See how it does.
Starting mowing now.
Here we go. Right to the channel. It's cutting diagonally across the yard to get to the channel. Lining itself up. Raises the blades.
Attention. Lawnmower starting now.
That's exactly what it was supposed to do. mean, I saw one of these work when I was a kid at Epcot Center, and it was like the future. And there's a little bit of that kid in me, or a lot of bit of that kid in me, that's just watching this thing go, thinking, man, that's cool. So this is my first day working with it. It already cut that lawn over there. We built the channel, programmed this other lawn, and I am a nuts and bolts kind of guy. If you've seen this channel, I can build a lot of stuff, but technological implements, programming, anything like that usually intimidates me because I'm not very good at it. But this is super intuitive. Mapped this yard in as long as it took me to drive the thing around, which was not that long. All because the app is very user-friendly. It just made sense. I just kind of guessed at what to do, and it just did it. This thing is fulfilling its promise, and it is cutting lawn for me on this Saturday morning. So I'm going to fulfill my end of the bargain, which is using that time for leisure. Because I'm not pushing a lawnmower around. So I'm going to sit in that chair right there. I'm going to read my book. And I'm going to enjoy this time that I'm essentially getting back, because I'm not doing what that little robot is doing for me. I'm getting a little distracted at how neat the thing is, but outside of that, it's so lovely out here. I kind of want to lower the mowing speed just to, you know, get my time back, as they say. Look at it go. I mean, this is my first time out with it, and I'm sitting here reading a book. It's pretty cool. It just finished up down the hill behind me. I don't know if you can see it or not. So it is announced that it is returning to the dock. It avoided all the obstacles. It did as good a job as I ever do out here pushing a mower or riding one around or whatever. So difference was I sat here reading this book about Mr. Diesel, drinking this cup of Little Brown Dog coffee. Look at it go. All right, future space robot. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Smash the plus button and hey, it'll show you what's going on here. Not bad. It was wet when we started this morning, so I'm perfectly okay with that. It's still wet. So they call this the Cyclone Airflow Cutting System, which basically it's two blades. They're designed the same as regular lawnmower blades that create an updraft to pull the grass up. So that is a 16-inch cutting width, and it's adjustable from 1.2 inches to 4 inches, all within the app. The track system is rated to make this thing climb up to 45 degrees. We had it climb 30 today, and the mowing speed on this thing is adjustable from 1 foot per second to 3.3 feet per second. Again, that's all stuff we adjusted on the fly while we were cutting based on the results we were getting all through the app. So just for kicks, because we started with wet, tall grass, I'm gonna go ahead and run it over a quick cleaning pass. So I'm gonna set this yard, let's just go to 3 feet per second. We'll drop the cutting height down to 2 inches. So the mower uses RTK VSLAM GPS guidance. That's what that antenna is right up there. And that's about the only installation you need. And like I said, you can use the stick that they give you that just jams right into the ground. Now, I don't know what any of that means. All I know is it works. And then the software in there creates the algorithm to create an efficient cutting path to keep this thing moving. I gave it the outline, the no-go zones, and how to cross the driveway. Other than that, it did it all by itself. However, if you want to get into the app, you can change the overlap, you can change the pattern, you can change everything. Look at it go. This thing is cooking along. So this thing runs off a 528 watt-hour battery, and it's rated for, I think, 2,000 cycles or something like that. We barely put a dent in it between these two yards. This thing is set up so that if you have a big enough yard and it needs to, it'll pull itself right back in and dock, charge up, and then go back and finish the job and remember where it was. So it really did do a good job. The app was super easy to use. It climbed the hills. It went over the obstacles. It didn't go where it wasn't supposed to go when I told it not to go there. I don't know what else to say except it did everything as promised, better than I expected. I think it's worth mentioning too, they're advertising this thing because it can do 1.73 acres, and I'm not sure if that's on a single charge or what, but one of the advantages that nobody's really talking about is how good it is in complicated small yards, which I find in my illustrious mowing career the hardest to mow. You've got to turn the most, and you've got to avoid stuff. And if, you know, when I had 2 gardens out here, it was just a huge pain to mow around all of that stuff. This thing can do all of that. We proved it, you know, right over the neighbor's yard. So that's not a common selling point for this thing, but it is a huge advantage if you have a complicated yard with a bunch of stuff in it and a bunch of topography. Like, this can do all of it, and you're not pushing a mower around. And, you know, I know from experience it's hard to ride a riding lawnmower around a lot of obstacles too. So I really appreciate them sending this out. Let me try it. It's pretty rad. That was one of the most enjoyable lawn mowing experiences I ever had. So good luck on your projects out there. There'll be some links in the description if you want to see more about this thing. It's at least it's worth a look.
Because man is fallen, and the desire for power was, as James Madison described it, sown in the nature of man, government had to be limited. For as Madison also said, if men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. But, alas, men are not angels.
It's Monday, May 11th, 2026, and welcome back to Goodfellows, a Hoover Institution broadcast examining history, economics, and geopolitics. I'm Bill Whalen. I'm a distinguished policy fellow here at the Hoover Institution. I'll be moderating a conversation today featuring 3 of my colleagues we jokingly refer to as the Goodfellows, referring, of course, to the historian Sir Neil Ferguson, the economist John Cochrane, and former presidential national security advisor Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. Neil, John, and H.R. are all Hoover Senior Fellows. Gentlemen, good to see you, and today we have 2 segments in store. In the second part of our show, we're going to talk about the latest situation in Iran, the diplomatic impasse, as well as the upcoming summit that Donald Trump and Xi Jinping are holding in Beijing. But the first part of our show, we're going to deal with that mysterious building next to the United States Capitol called the United States Supreme Court. We're going to talk about some key decisions coming down this summer, as well as the power of judicial review in this current political and governing and climate. And joining us to explain this and more is Sarah Isgur. Sarah's an editor at SCOTUS blog and an ABC News analyst, and in her spare time, she writes books. In fact, she just wrote one. It's called Last Branch Standing, a potentially surprising, occasionally witty journey inside today's Supreme Court. Sarah, welcome to Goodfellows.
Thanks for having me.
So, Truth in Advertising, the book is great. It is surprising. It is witty, more than occasionally witty, I would add. And you have been busy. You've been on quite the ambitious book tour. Now, I got a question for you, Sarah. Neil, John, and HR also write books. They go on book tours, but you recently went on, of all places, The View. So what is your advice for Neil, John, and HR come the time they go on The View?
I will tell you, that is the most nervous I think I have ever been going on a TV show in like 10 years, because there's, you know, a live audience, the host could go anywhere, and they were so kind to me. It was actually a real treat, and I highly recommend it. And the audience was fun and interested and curious, and I actually had a great time.
Okay, let's get into the book, Sarah. So we are accustomed to reading about a 6-3 Supreme Court. 6 justices appointed by Republican presidents, 3 appointed by Democratic presidents. But in your book, you take the number 9 and break it down differently. You put it into camps of 3, 3, and 3. Could you briefly explain what the 3, 3, 3 camps are? And could you apply it to, say, the recent decision on the Voting Rights Act, which was a 6-3 decision, I believe?
You bet. So basically, like, let's go back to, you know, high school geometry and get your graph paper out and your number 2 pencil. And we're going to have an x-axis at the bottom, horizontal, and that's going to be, you know, conservative to liberal. And the judges are ideological, right? Like I reject sort of both notions, right? The court is only political and maps onto our current partisan tribalism, or this is like a math problem and you put in facts and you get out law and it's just a mechanistic thing. Both of those are incorrect. Okay. So we do have ideology. It's not partisan. It's not Republican and Democrat, but there is such a thing as a conservative and a liberal judicial philosophy. No question. But we also have this y-axis, this vertical axis that I've called institutionalism. Happy for someone to come up with a better term, by the way. But this is the idea that Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch are both conservative. They are Federalist Society, petri dish experiments with great hair. And yet, last term, Brett Kavanaugh was more likely to agree with Justices Kagan and Sotomayor than he was with Justice Neil Gorsuch. So how can that be? Well, this is this institutionalist spectrum where Justice Kavanaugh is actually much closer to Justice Kagan as sort of this is a team group project. It's one court over 230 years, whereas Justice Gorsuch, Justice Conservative, is much more like Justice Jackson. Ideologically, very different, but they see themselves as like just one vote. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. This isn't a group project. This is a soloist, and I will belt it out for all the world to hear, which is why you see so many separate opinions from Justices Gorsuch and Jackson in particular. So, what are these three, cafeteria lunch tables that they're all sitting at? I have Justices Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson together, call them the lonely liberals, though again, they differ on institutionalism quite a bit. I've got my deciders. That's the Chief, Justice Barrett, and Justice Kavanaugh. They are the justices most likely to be in the majority. They are also the most institutionalist. And then I've got my conservative honey badgers. That's Justices Thomas, Alito, and Gorsuch. They are doing their own thing with their own projects, and they're not here to make friends.
Okay, now take the Voting Rights Act decision, Sarah, which I believe was 6-3, and the media shorthand is the 6 Republican justices went one way and the 3 progressives went the other. But how does 3, 3, and 3 apply to that decision?
For sure. I mean, right, we took 2 of our 3 clumps, all 3 of the deciding justices, the Chief Barrett and Kavanaugh, and then we took our 3 honey badgers, Thomas, Alito, and Gorsuch, and that's our 6. It happens to line up ideologically as well in that case. But, last term, we had 15% of the cases, either 6-3 or 5-4, I combined those, that lined up that way, with all 3 of the liberal justices in dissent. But we had the exact same number of cases, 6-3 or 5-4, with all 3 of the liberal justices in the majority and conservative justices in dissent. So the Voting Rights Act case absolutely lined up ideologically, and you combine like those 2 sets of 3 together. But if it looks anything like last term, we're actually going to have a lot of the other sets of 3 combined together. And we've seen that happen in when the Supreme Court, also 6-3, stopped Trump from federalizing the National Guard. We saw it 6-3 when they stopped Trump from imposing worldwide tariffs through executive order. I'll be very curious how birthright citizenship comes out, not because I don't know the answer in the end. The question is how Trump loses. There are so many different options, and what exactly that lineup will look like.
All right, let's turn it over to John Cochran, who's not a lawyer, but has a lot of legal questions.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I sent Bill and Scott about 3 hours worth of questions this morning, and they said, well, you got to pick, John. Let me just take up from where you're going. First of all, the framing. I love where you started. It's not about Democrat, Republican. And just a shout out, I'm really disappointed that all of the mainstream media identifies Supreme Court justices immediately by who appointed them, as if that matters. Just one of the many norms we're breaking. Also,
and it didn't used to be true, by the way.
Right.
That has increased enormously in the last 30 years. Both, like, they've done a study of how many times that's mentioned in news stories. And of course, it didn't used to tell you anything. There were 8 justices appointed by Republicans as of 1992, but 2 of the most liberal justices to sit on the Supreme Court in modern history, Justice Stevens and Justice Souter, were Republican appointees. And so it wasn't actually interesting to say what the partisan lineup was.
And the other thing that I think we all take for granted, but we need to remind people, because I hear it all the time on the media, the Supreme Court is there to judge if something's constitutional, not the final arbiter of our policy questions, that was a quote from NPR as I was driving around yesterday, which drives me nuts. Okay, now a question for you. On this axis, There's a third dimension as well, which is I'd like you to speak about, which is really the one about textualists, originalist versus, let's call it living, versus policy, versus we have to create some policy compromise for today. I kind of joke that the Supreme Court is dominated by Catholics who think the Constitution is the Protestant Bible, literally true in every word handed down by God, and then make it up as you go along. Character, does that dimension still matter much for understanding the court?
I actually write in my book that when Justice Scalia gets on the court and starts talking about originalism, it really is something like Martin Luther nailing the theses to the door. It's this idea that, like, you guys have been making this up for decades, and my God, we have actual text here. Let's go with the scripture. I wouldn't say it's a third axis, though. I think that is the definition of that X ideological axis. As I say, I don't think it maps onto our politics very well. It's far more about the judicial methodology that you use. We are very accustomed to thinking conservatives do originalism and textualism, and liberals do living constitutionalism, sort of 9 Platonic guardians deciding what they think is best for American society. But look at the birthright citizenship argument, and you'll see everyone reversed hats. The administration was the one arguing for something far more like living constitutionalism or practicalism. Look, when they ratified the 14th Amendment, they didn't have the type of illegal immigration that we have today. So we just need to, look at the facts as they are now and allow the president to do this. And it was actually the liberals who were arguing the text of the 14th Amendment says this. The people who ratified thought it meant this. And what are we even doing here? So I would also challenge people's notions that what we think of as conservative and liberal in legal world always lines up with the partisan interests of right and left. It actually doesn't. It lines up far more with who is in power and who is out of power. If you are out of power, you want process. You want to have this contract with the American people through the Constitution. If you're in power, you'd like your guys to get to, decide things along the way, however willy-nilly they think that will match up with the current politics.
Culture. Sarah, it strikes me that the judiciary, the Supreme Court in particular, like the military, our credibility rests a lot on the belief that we can transcend partisan politics, right? And of course, what I've been upset about across multiple administrations are efforts by politicians to drag the military into partisan politics, which would be so damaging, not only to our Constitution, but I think to just our citizens' confidence. And you can see that. You can see how this plays out with the justices and the Joint Chiefs together. Whenever the president's given the State of the Union, and they're all just stone-faced, because they're jealously guarding this idea that they're beyond partisan politics. Hey, what's your assessment of recent efforts to drag the Supreme Court into partisan politics? Are you concerned about it? Is it atypical? What we're seeing, or have we seen this across the court's history? And how troubled are you by it?
Okay, before I answer that, do you think that the Joint Chiefs should stop going to the State of the Union?
No, I don't see a reason to stop going. But I think they should stay stone-faced. Right.
Well, presidents should stop pointing at them and threatening.
Stop pointing at them. Start trying to drag them in. Yeah, they had to go to Pete Hegseth's convocation also.
Right.
During which they sat there stone-faced as well.
They are differently situated than justices for any number of reasons, right? The justices belong to a separate branch of government, but I would like to see a press release way in advance, like today, that says, from now on, Supreme Court justices will not be attending the State of the Union. Thank you very much. See ya, XOXO John Roberts. But that's my own separate thing. Okay, so the answer is all of the above. You go back through history and the complaints that you read about the Supreme Court sound so modern. Jefferson is railing against John Marshall, his cousin, for how partisan the court is. They never side with him. He goes so far as to impeach Samuel Chase to try to remove him, to start this practice in American politics of having a Supreme Court that mirrors the party of the president. That's in 1805. We are early on here, right after our first partisan election. His plan was to then impeach John Marshall, again, his cousin. I think that's so so funny. Not distant cousin, like they knew each other and just hated each other. And you're going to see this repeat. Jackson ignores the court. Lincoln runs against the court. FDR threatens to pack the court. Nixon threatens to defy the court. And so the threats and challenges and insults that you see from Donald Trump may feel different to us, but historically they fit into a nice, normal pattern of American presidents being roll mad at an independent branch of government that says no to them. That being said, I am deeply concerned about partisanizing the Supreme Court. I could have named this book Last Branch Standing ... for now. But the threat isn't coming from Donald Trump per se, or one political party or the other. It is coming from the American people not believing that Congress passes laws anymore, not believing that we get to ratify amendments to the Constitution, and instead believing that the Supreme Court decides everything. So we need to fight to the death over who picks these justices, how they're picked, what these confirmation hearings are about. And in the meantime, we've gotten rid of the filibuster for all of these judges and justices. So instead of having a general election where you have to have votes from both sides to win, we've moved to a primary election where you not only need votes from your side to become a judge, you only want votes from your side. That will change who gets picked as judges. It changes the credibility of the courts over time, especially when we have rampant forum shopping. You could be the most fair judge in the world, but if everyone knows that one side keeps picking you over and over and over again for these big stop the president cases, no one's going to believe that you're that fair, that you're not a partisan actor. These are all things that are so fixable, and none of the fixes are burn it down, end the Supreme Court as we know it through packing it, adding seats to it, term limits. We need Congress to do its job again. We need to bring back some version of the filibuster, maybe even more. Instead of 60 votes, let's make it 75. I don't know, something crazy. Let's go out there and be nuts. And we can end forum shopping tomorrow. Congress can do it. The courts can do it themselves.
But in a way, it's a good thing that Trump is at odds with
it's great.
Court,
historically.
Justices he picks. I mean, he's just out there on Truth Social in the last 24 hours. I love Justice Neil Gorsuch. He's really smart and a good man. But he voted against me in our country on tariffs, a devastating move. I won't do the voice anymore. He goes on to complain that he and Amy Coney were appointed by me and yet have hurt our country so badly with their decision on tariffs, overthrowing the AIPA basis for the reciprocal tariffs. And then he comes up with this, and I want to get your reaction to it. They could have solved that situation with a tiny sentence. Any money paid by others to the United States does not have to be paid back. I mean, this fits in with your narrative that presidents have been fighting with the court and with their own appointees pretty much since the beginning. This is a feature, not a bug of American governance. And so in some ways, the system's working as designed, isn't it?
When it comes to Donald Trump railing against the Supreme Court, again, would I suggest that he send those truths? Do I like them? I do not. However, it is actually what has built the Supreme Court over the last 230 years. We didn't have much of a Supreme Court when George Washington was in office. John Jay was Chief Justice, and he said it was beneath his dignity to keep serving in that role because they weren't doing anything. You don't need a counter-majoritarian branch when George Washington is your president, the most, perfect, beloved human being to astride the earth. You need a counter-majoritarian branch when you have bare and fleeting majorities, when you have a president that may overstep his bounds. And that's why you see the Supreme Court come into its own under the Jefferson presidency. Again, it builds even more credibility under the Jackson presidency. It doesn't matter. In fact, it has maybe arguably helped when these presidents have tried to defy the Supreme Court. The most famous in our modern history of the elected branches defying a Supreme Court decision is Brown versus Board of Education. For 10 years, nobody enforced that decision. And you know who came out looking good? The Supreme Court, because they said what the law and the Constitution required, and it didn't matter that everyone ignored them. It is the political branches that came out smelling less than roses. And so over time, we have come to appreciate having a counter-majoritarian, anti-majority, these, sort of mob mentality things that the founders were so afraid of. We would not have a First Amendment. We would not have protections for criminal defendants. Those are unpopular things with the majority. And so, yes, I think presidents being mad at the Supreme Court is helpful for the Supreme Court, but that is different than the sense that the American people might have that the court, not for or against one president or another, but rather that they are simply part of our partisan churn, and the way they're getting selected has become more partisan. The judges who are getting to decide are becoming more partisan. That is a different threat to the court that we have not particularly seen before. And I'll just note, by the way, so most popular decisions by the Supreme Court historically: Brown v. Board, West Virginia versus Barnett, a case about free speech and religious minorities. Most unpopular decisions historically: Dred Scott, Plessy versus Ferguson, Buck v. Bell was on eugenics, Korematsu on Japanese internment. Those were popular decisions, and by which I mean they were with the majority at the time. So really, we as Americans should appreciate that what this branch does when it's doing its best is say no to presidents, to Congress, and to us.
And just to hand it back to John, it's clear from Trump's truth, quote unquote, that he expects to lose on birthright citizenship as well. And that seems to me, to fit in with this pattern of presidents being frustrated even by their own appointees. But John, you had a specific question to raise about the birthright citizenship question.
Well, let us thank President Trump, because every time he sends a tweet like that, he enhances the prestige of the court and the understanding that it's independent. If you read the New York Times, they think, oh, the court is just Trump's little minions doing whatever he wants. And, you notice, hey, he loses about half the time, if not more. And the court is quite independent. So thank you, President Trump. Keep at it, and that will enhance the prestige of the court.
President Trump was the first president in United States history to lose more than win at the Supreme Court in his first term, and he has lost every major policy initiative that he has had this term. Alien Enemies Act on immigration, federalizing the National Guard, tariffs, and now you and I are going to disagree on birthright citizenship.
Well, I don't know if we're going to disagree. So let's talk about how it's going to come out. One option is the court just says, I'm sorry, this was settled 150 years ago. Anybody born in the U.S. is a citizen. We're done. And I think that's what you're betting for. But
no, it's not what I'm betting for, but it is an option.
Well, you get to tell us what you're betting for. But here's what I noticed. There is a question. Times have changed in 150 years. Justice Kavanaugh pointed out in his remarks, there was a 1952, I think, law that settled all the hundreds of little cases of how do U.S. citizens who have children abroad, when do their children become citizens? And it's, it's the kind of thing you hash out in the legislative process. Now, things have changed. If your plane's delayed at O'Hare, which happens, and you go into labor, does that kid get to be a U.S. citizen? I don't know, maybe not. And the right thing, of course, is Congress steps up, writes a law, it gets reviewed, and here we go. But that hasn't happened. Because nobody's brought this up. I mean, like guns, we've been at it for, hundreds of years. But I don't think the court would be happy if what we're going to do is we're going to once again go back to the text. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof, comma. Oh, what does that mean? Well, we're going to have a 10-part test and invent, this goes into like where it went wrong with Roe v. Wade. So I hope they're not going to do that. If they don't want to do that, their job is to punt. To say, who knows what this is? Bring us some cases. In which case, I would see them allowing Trump a lot of latitude. And when President Gavin Newsom comes back and says, no, my executive order says anybody who sets foot in the U.S. gets to be presumed. Okay, that's it. Congress, you want to clean this up for us? So how do they punt this one, having taken on, I see, is the question.
Okay, so you're exactly right. In 1868, we ratified the 14th Amendment. All persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the U.S. and their states respectively. So the first question is, did the Constitution answer this question when at the time, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, prevented Native Americans who were born on tribal lands from becoming citizens? And it obviously prevented diplomats' children from becoming citizens, still does, by the way, because they are not subject to our jurisdiction for so much as parking tickets, let alone anything else. So they are not subject to the jurisdiction. So the one argument goes, the Supreme Court can settle this by simply saying, we mean subject to the legal jurisdiction. If you are here unlawfully, you are still subject to our laws. You are not like a diplomat. You are not like someone born on tribal lands. And so this question is answered. There is a chance they do that. I do not think it is the most likely outcome. You present another outcome, which is, I don't know, we're not saying this is legal, but we're not going to answer this now. Bring us case and facts. I think that's even less likely than outcome one. Let me give you what I think is the likely outcome that is the middle option here. You mentioned that 1952 law from Congress. So close to 100 years after the 14th Amendment was ratified, Congress passes a law with the exact same language. But now we've had 90 years of what we call liquidation of that language, what it has meant in practice. And yet Congress didn't change the language. They didn't clarify the language. So what the court can say is, look, Congress can pass a new law if they want to, and we are happy to decide whether that fits with the language of the 14th Amendment, whether that law is constitutional. But a president acting solely through executive order without a law passed by Congress can't do nothing. That's why Joe Biden couldn't do student loan debt forgiveness, and it's why Trump couldn't do tariffs, and we sure aren't doing it for birthright citizenship. So this executive order is struck down. A president cannot change the 1952 law from Congress through executive order. Come back to us when you have a new law from Congress. We're happy to look at it. Have a nice day.
Sarah, you mentioned birthright citizenship. There's some other interesting cases on the docket. Transgender athletes, for example, the president's authority, whether or not he can fire a Federal Reserve governor. Peter's John's thoughts on that as well. But we're 4 years removed, Sarah, from the Dobbs decision, which came down in June of 2022, right in the middle of an election. It was a political bombshell. Two questions. Number one, is there anything on the docket right now that you think qualifies as a bombshell, or was Dobbs unique in that it was 50 years in the making? And then secondly, we forget that the Dobbs decision, actually a draft decision of that, the draft majority decision, was leaked. And the court looked into it. We never found the leakers. It's just another Washington whodunit. We're going to have to wait 30 years like the Watergate deep throat to find out who did it.
So the Dred Scott decision was leaked to President Buchanan. He put it into his inaugural address. There was a clerk in 1919 who was indicted on leaking a decision to speculators about railroad companies. The Roe v. Wade decision was actually leaked to a guy named Dave Beckwith, who would go on to be my boss in the 2002 Cornyn campaign. And then, of course, we have the Dobbs decision leaking and these memos from the justices that leaked this year, but the memos themselves were back from 2016. Right. I don't know that we're even seeing an increase in pace at this point, so much as we're seeing an increase in media focus on the Supreme Court for all the reasons we've talked about. Why would you focus on Congress? They're not actually doing anything or passing laws. So we've got a bunch of bored reporter puppies chewing on the furniture, trying to find something else to cover. The reason that Dobbs is a bombshell, there's a few factors. One, of course, it is on the main culture war issue that had fully divided up the two political parties. They were not particularly divided on abortion when Roe v. Wade was decided, and over the following 50 years, it becomes the single issue that determines which political party you are in. So nothing is more culture war than abortion when that case is decided in 2022. The second reason is that you had something that had been taken away from the political process when the Supreme Court said that the Constitution guaranteed a right to an abortion without undue burden. And that was being returned to the political process. Well, that's always going to have a bombshell effect, because now something that you couldn't vote on, now you can. And we're seeing the result of that in all of these states who are actually having to do real legislation and then try to get reelected. Sort of the way the system is supposed to work, except for the most big questions that we have reserved against majority rule in the Bill of Rights for the most part. So this term, nothing like that. Almost all of the culture war questions from this term are actually about statutory construction. Now, It's about laws passed by Congress. Again, we don't actually believe that Congress will do anything, and so it feels like the Supreme Court is having the last word. But whether Mississippi can accept ballots 5 days after the election, whether Donald Trump can turn people away at the southern border who want to apply for asylum, those are simply questions of Congress's laws. Congress could pass a new law tomorrow if they don't like the outcome of the Supreme Court decision. But I will bet you guys a shiny nickel that I see a whole bunch of press releases from members' offices the day after those decisions, from whichever side feels like they lost, that rail against the Supreme Court for making a decision they don't like when they are members of Congress who are there to actually pass laws, which we used to do. The 16th Amendment, by the way, was ratified in response to a Supreme Court decision. The Lilly Ledbetter Act in, the last 20 years was passed in response to a Supreme Court decision. The Voting Rights Act was amended in 1986 in response to a Supreme Court decision. We used to have this muscle memory, but now we think of the Supreme Court as being the last word instead of one part of an ongoing dialogue with the American people.
Hey, Sarah, just a quick point on this. It strikes me that this is what the debate in the Federalist, anti-Federalist papers, right? There's this, this belief that, the court might be too strong, from an anti-Federalist perspective. From the Federalist perspective, oh, no, it's going to be the weakest branch of government. Don't worry about it. But what they didn't factor in was that Article 1, that the Congress was going to abdicate a lot of its responsibilities. And it made me think of, remember the 6 members of Congress who said, they would put out that video to the military, hey, don't follow illegal orders. But the subtext was really, hey, you should be a check on executive power. Hell no. Congressmen and women, you should be the check on executive power. It's just so crazy that Congress is absent from checks and balances because of their profound dysfunction.
But we've gotten a lot of great podcasts out of it. I mean, like they're hosting podcasts and being Instagram influencers as if that's what we paid them to do.
This is very important, sort of in public perception of the court. The difference between statutory interpretation and constitutional ruling is so important and is missed 99% of the time. But with Roe v. Wade and Dobbs, is there not a little bit of hope? Dobbs did exactly what you said. It did not, hello, New York Times, it did not outlaw abortion in the United States. Right. It sent it back to the states and back to the political process to adjudicate all that messiness about 10 weeks, 11 weeks, mifestoprone versus, and so on and so forth. You might or might not like it, but it's back to the political process. And hence, for 50 years, every appointment to the Supreme Court has been a show about one thing and one thing only. What's your vote on overturning Roe v. Wade? That's gone. Is there not some hope that the next appointments, what are the next appointments going to be all mad about? I mean, Chevron, Humphrey's executor? I mean, I sort of hope so.
Our culture war fights right now do seem to be about the power and the roles of our branches of government, which is maybe okay. I wish we had one political party that was maybe about the size and scope of government instead of 2 big government, more spending political parties where we're just fighting over who has the power. Okay. But I think you're exactly right on Dobbs. Interestingly, there have been more abortions since Dobbs than in the years before. There have been more abortions under Donald Trump's first year in office than there were under Joe Biden. So to your point, no, Dobbs certainly did not ban abortions in this country. They have increased since that time because states have been able, as you say, to actually define the contours of what the rules are going to be around a really hard question. And for 50 years,
worker and I was deducted for tier 2 and now I am not working there again. How can I get my money? I am Francis, now 35 years of age. Now a contract worker ewo cocoa board. Na obusa se omu deducted in tier 2. And tizisia oni hobio na ne nsa betima kan sika na
mpacho there be nsa ntimi
ono ani sika tetu no
on anchor retirement because until say we do retirement age engine
ba only cocoa board bio no
so be need for until beto so they can port that distance and he will continue from the new employers now or come on no of course watch here
and it's hard to ne won sabe kan is a retirement
and now early retirement 55.
Right, and there was a lump sum nimu yedu pa.
Say ne because NASNet will not give you lump sum. Into your sham and why you do. Yeah. Because even NPRA is working with the insurance companies to actually develop annuity products.
Okay.
Say be ya we je lump sum no. On say obi. Assume say we teacher ni.
Yes.
For retirement. Yeah, amount lump sum of maybe 300,000 cedis. At age 60. Sabre no nya sabre na obeka bi a okosifie when okosifie a wa anya careful at 300,000 na ntima dey and we fie no na was kind of so we are encouraging say all over the world that's how it stand. There's annuity products where you can buy annuity for maybe 10 years or 15 years.
Annuity near brofo kese do
me we have me breaking but I say pensions no I mean say regular pensions.
Okay.
Enti ebia snate amount me fan 1,000 cedis.
Yeah, a month.
Na what annuity product annuity no some fan so be out of 15 years and not 10 years with is 300,000 a day amomo. No so be ama be ebia 3,000 and na be 2,500 and 20,000 ebeka we no ho a. No when you be 3,500 enti sabre na be your salary 5,000 cedis. Now you are getting close to the 5,000. So for the next 10-15 years you'll be getting that kind of boa man say feel retirement na day bebre and
but that is a bedroom na say wo baby dey uti to dada
sintina ye planning vis-a-vis we active work na we in nabo at retirement that's not where you take a serious
capital
even at certain age no you don't venture into a risky investment until we drew 55 will appetite for risk no I was so and asane man say be ya obenya regular cash support liquidity boa mo atimi.
Obi, I lost my sister who was a member of NAT in 2019. Up till now all effort to collect her contribution from NAT has not yielded any results. Can NPRA help me please? Donkin Ewatema. Obi say no mo mboama no.
Ye betima mboa Tema your office or
okay.
On Tema office one, you should lodge the case. We will contact GSOP.
Okay.
You know, because at night they say it's part of GSOP scheme.
Okay.
And sure say
that's fine. That's fine. Lots and lots of messages. My posting messages now and you interview. I have some 2 questions being so to ask me. I'll come back to the messages now. Ya share Eddie Ewie. Asempafm Sony. Ekosiisen On Asempa wasuguswa utie no. Obi. Good afternoon. Ask Mr. Buedi how past credit of SNIT is being managed on behalf of those who had some funds with SNIT before the introduction of the 3-tier.
That is talking about before 2010.
Yeah, before 2010.
That's about about 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think those ones before then, they were paid lump sum, and they continue to pay them pensions until ABI or be free man at a certain age, free man beneficiary or somewhere. That's how the system was before the introduction of the 3-tier pension scheme. So I'm sure he was paid a lump sum and he continued to receive pension. But the question, if was it there past credits?
Yeah, also past credits. I don't know what the past credit is.
Yeah.
Or no can past credits.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Into Abraham Lincoln, ECG, this our message, but he also tells us there is serious traffic build up between New Jejeti and in Kowada number 1 stretch. Accident be SC ajit 3/4 another 3/4 of the road surface, and they've spent close to 2 hours on that stretch. In the drivers M2 mobile police for a year to clear the road. We are driver now bar no when you about a free new jejeti airco in Kawada number 1 stretch no esono accident BSM a creating it's on the Accra Kumasi highway a creating massive traffic on that stretch. In the police be advised we are driver na say plies our route na why extremely careful na etimi abua Asempa FM so ni Chris mami musa 2 questions ni and wrap it up on our interview and Che and I mean there were some allegations against you and your agency and some of those allegations were dealt with here on Ekosiisen honorable MP for Old Tafo constituency and erasing some of those issues. I think we would have to ask you. The first one was procurement be a year of cars. Say ono uteki over na dia ni here one say obeto cars akese ediama NPRA. What happened? Na ya Asempa.
Obi, I think say we knew me very well before this interview.
Yes.
Me and say me say na ya na men so because the entire mame and so nja me decided say I won't respond to anything. Obusa ba me so me. And yeah ba we need to open up NPRA. Operational cars in the toy. The kind MP say Makoto Land Cruiser 7. Munto Land Cruiser 7.
Munto Land Cruiser 7.
Yeah, Toyota Prado, yeah. For operations and pickups and then some salon cars for him. MP said he's not talking about legality. What is he talking about? The problem is MP Nanka said, oh, Mr. Boediman, some motor car and 1,000 cities and a mark 1,500. There was nothing like that. One can say procurement breaches be a day. And Timmy Nim at the crow, what my response should be.
Ebiana or she say as an agency was a Osha pension so no.
Yeah.
Say yem building and I say won't me increase asset under management bigger. Your first thing should not be buying cars.
No,
maybe
let me explain this thing.
Okay.
Oh, do you understand the way public sector work?
Sure.
You know, even today, a budget for 2027. We are supposed to finish board approval, get to Minister of Finance, and get to Parliament by June ending.
Okay.
So before the year starts, 2024. I came to meet a budget. There was
2025.
I'm coming. 2024. They
a budget for 2025. Okay.
And there was a provision of about 20 million cedis
for cars
to purchase vehicles. And yes, our budget no. Budget approved, by the board, by Parliament of Ghana, and then the Minister of Finance. It's been approved 20 million. But because of prudence and leadership, we didn't spend way less than 20 million now see a year. You to operational cars. And your cars are being produced so because Chris Boedi and the Ekosiisen fear and so on your cars here about bois and made Jumana day. Akoso. Oh be a better now hey. So when we say a Jumaka see power house and Pierre yeah. And the directors and the no may. They need to move around, they need to work. Institutions when enter cars and director in the public sector. And yeah. So and Kawaka say Obia there was procurement breaches and but there's nothing like procurement breaches. He himself talk about it. It's not about legality, but he just wanted people to know what. So me that thing I decided not to actually respond to it. That's one of the reasons.
But he made another point, say not only now what to a catching, but as well allergy even double salary payment any other.
Obi. Any panana on corporate governance as a very experienced administrator. I've worked over 20 years. I've been an MD for 2-3 organizations. I've sit on a lot of board. What you are saying means how our budget is being run. Maybe total budget. Set 2025 year, 2026 year, we have budget here. Yeah, approve in the middle of the year, no. Meet back as some about market and now maybe February or whatever. Can somebody? Why is it alluded it to me? Say Chris Boedi, entire maybe staff or something. Do you get a point? Yeah, that is the whole thing. So me, I don't even get the hair and the tail of this whole allegations I heard. Because what the corporate governance as right away you say it's not something that you should do this time.
Meaning say the. Okay, in the meantime, who take it over now? We a general increment in salary across board. I be affected one.
No. When I came, there was a budget running, and I can't in the middle of the budget. Increment. Okay. You can't do that. It's not done.
Okay, you are saying, sir. And at no point we're increasing the way.
Yeah, because it was done. And so I may take you over the same budget to run it. Now, Obi, salary. So I was running to make us say you must really appreciate Capri governance and know say and you may be where you can't so you don't spend time discussing it and all that.
In 2025 we are Juma with the 2024 budget our money year. Now we are in 2026. It we year budget for this year, not last year.
Last year. About this time, even 2027, as we speak, we are doing our budget.
Okay.
We are getting justification for what we should do.
Okay.
Until you put it in then we take it to our board.
For 2027. But in the
middle of the year.
Any year. Like over budget in the middle of the year.
Okay. And Sana
the new year.
Yeah,
but the question,
January, because
the question
if
will
you
be
don't have approved budget and everything, January 1st
you cannot spend. That's true.
Yeah.
But the question will be saying in our budget now we are in 2025 for 2026, you know. Who make a provision for salary increment and
MPR they have their way on.
Like annual.
Okay. I say adjust salary in the way for everybody.
Okay.
And that's what it's and
and you see on Kwane a two na ketu boom.
CEO the here because and salary why must say Ghana reset in bed salary say and na you go until my salary.
Yeah, but so we more minor or so minor.
Oh yeah, I mean castle moon I mean seven previous I make say double salary 7,000 50,000 80,000 na me 200,000 again na sa never year adwuma na be year pension e be konanim we leadership we ma MPR enye din ye mandate ye wo at 766 now we are able to implement it well. We know and here because look at where we are today. We know we are supposed to be in all the 16 regions.
Sure.
We are only in 9.
Sure.
How do you open up? Look at the challenge. Somebody was calling you from Kintampo. You know, your new office with teaching man. These are the things that you better said. It will be easy for people to actually reach out and they should know what the pension is. You earlier admit say not until say you boom me didn't cross me call MPR no.
Yeah, no, and you're popular.
And institutions are and TBB because and you better make sure say and your my papa now was here and we are not going to lose focus. We ensure say my papa no I'm a Ghana and Asempafm so and only the most important. So I should be the last person as a very experienced corporate governance expert. Then I will breach corporate governance risk. That will be the last thing I will ever do. That would be the everlasting.
Well, sir, Obi, I worked for Accra Heart of Folk for 2 years, and they never paid my tier 2. When you're gonna make a message, Abba, and it's a way of phobia near me, or say I worked for Accra Heart of Folk for 2 years, and they never paid my tier 2. I took Heart of Folk to court regarding other payment and tier 2. I won the case, but till today, Accra Heart of Folk have still not paid a dime to Petra Trust. The case was determined in 2025, February, yet no payment done. See below the judgment. I need to come see the CEO of the pension regulator, Charles Quatin, and Onudiwe Abba. Inti Onunidieno, Mubetima Buano.
On family, understanding.
Charles Quatin, Obeko, NPRA office, Okwa, sharp mind ewo hwa ombehwe na omwetimi aboa we say okay into Abraham Lincoln abetre pass credits na all it is an amount SNET is keeping on behalf of those who were on SNET before conversion to the tier 3 to the 3 tiers. And for instance, because I was a staff from 2004, can NPRA liaise with SNET such that those monies can be paid to their owners? Obi, if you were employed by ECG before 2010, SNET is holding on to that money, and they say until retirement, that past credit would not be paid to beneficial owners?
I'll pick it up. I think now he has explained himself better. And to me picking it up, and then he can also reach out to us.
Okay.
Now, whatever the understanding is, we have, because we are there to ensure, say, people's retirement and pension issues should be seamless. And if SNET is doing something and the people are not happy, we are going to work with them and ensure, say, grievances in nice address.
So that's fine. Ekosiisen saying hi Asempa FM. We are just about wrapping up on the issues into let me see. We say Obi, please. The NPRA boss said he will do a follow-up on Shraj staffs on PTF.
Yeah, we have taken a note of that.
Or say, how can I get the update? Is there any means or medium through which we can get update from his follow-up? I beg. Thank you very much. I
was saying, Obi. I was saying, I was saying, I get it.
It will be saying, say, Opesonia follow, Opesonia updater. Also about office, right? Yes.
And so that we can update him.
Sure.
We'll get better understanding what the issues are. Because what came out here, as I said, it's been 2 years. You might do that 2 or more. The corporate trustees. That is the understanding.
Sure.
But we need more information on this to actually clear a lot of so we are more than willing to support.
Finally, Obi, I worked for MOFA, that's the Ministry of Food and Agric, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Mobile for 10 years and moved to US of A. My name has been changed and I use the same number for my Ghana card. How can I access my account? Your name has been changed. Sese, who changed your name? One who changed it within.
No, Obi, name changing cry legal processes. So there's documentation to still prove but the question here should be, is he talking about SNET? Where obeti me using the SNET number no and ya check it and now he's talking about the tier 2 see abey obeti me ahwenti when you can make that distinction and
okay, that's fine. That's fine. I mean quite a number of why would they use our own pension money to build hostels for our own children in the university and charge them such huge amount for rent? Example, Pentagon in the University of Ghana is charging over 7,000 per student in a single room with about 4 students. Gastiman Ewo Brikum, and I believe or refer to some of the fund managers now are into building hostels.
University superannuation pension scheme.
Sure.
And also now, we are talking, you see, investors can or returns.
Yes.
Now, to pay the workers of that particular university.
Okay.
So, your musica, the pensions can nominate, and Nipa now on minimum, so investor and our investing staff and yes,
I think I don't know. What's a SNET for us to see hostels?
No, I know say university superannuation. Most of the university have a lot of hostels because they use their pension funds to do
workers now university.
Yeah, the university, they have their own pensions. So
almost staff in the doors.
And me, I'm very sure. And just need for the universities hostels no, but see na work and once. I'm very sure. So it's not the and then I'm getting because most of the university is rather the universities no the SECs are use pension funds and it's called the University Superannuation Pensions Scheme.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. My say, Mr. Christopher, I think it's been very helpful. Brano and I was say mutai eba. Now you didn't come. You could see from questions they say nipa bebre or questions pa ebusa. Nipa bebre or questions are on pese omo ebusa enti mo amubusa se mo benya numbers a mo be frɛ e do be say frɛ NPRA NA landline here 0309 68692 0309 68692. Your toll free number so MTN 0800 766 000 0800 766 000. Na wafre na wo complaint o person you follow up be on any complaint awaya no ma hwe die chawa 0800 766 000 na bibia enkoye. Ora Chris, yadase pa, wish you very, very well. Why?
Yes.
And we pray best ready in Komobio.
Nice one.
Ekosiisen On Asempa 94.7 FM. Moma yentie we emra ye ba discussion segment no air to amoso. Stay with us.
Na ede na ya obeyi a oda former son ye funu emunumuni.
Oh Mr. Entry also ya reya titi bi ben fie pi nanso ne yam nyono da se me show no ahodo amato a me hunu hwe a ebe ye nwanwa
Mini ni se what also tamfo hexa capsules any hexa mixture ya no bom kutia also no bia ma no anom anka ne ho to no dadaada also dro de eno any hexa capsules any hexa mixture
ankom ni nchiremu
also ye kura eto ye funu ene ensunumu etuma wo ye funu ekeka wa wo je ho a enyi also etumi ema wo ye cheko ebra wadidi awie so how eye also there compare hexa capsules any hexa mixture nanom bom na ho ebeto
pedudu eto a ko okanshi drug lane Kumasi Dani Herbal Takradi AA Mensa Anafre 02038228855 Approve about Tanya Wama on Mofano for any Mofra when you fear be no enka ho Haxa capsules any ne mixture
all satan for FDA aji edwedi Sasabo Sasu tonton freko Sasu tonton freko Ebana driving in the session Yeah, I can see all in my area We know the phone and it's all so spray Every mosquito study around our way Tonton freko Sasu It's a woman tonton freko Tonton freko Sasu tonton freko Nani shamne die edemo stronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
Imagine making or collecting all payments without leaving your chair. Sounds like magic, right? Nah, it's Stanbic Pay.
As the Chief Financial Director of SBA Holdings Limited, payments from clients flow like magic through Stanbic Pay.
From school fees to utilities, government and statutory payments to investment, insurance payment, Hajj payment, and more. Just log on to Stanbic Pay and you're set for life. No Stanbic account, no queues, no stress, no last-minute panic.
Cherish your time and live happier in safety and convenience.
Just visit stambicbank.com.gh or call 030-340-9212 or 055-676-0683 to get started.
Na last year massive. I feel DJI. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. 30th May. See Havana Bayer Day. Tama Bayer Day. Wine and edge a feel UEFA Champions League. Get ready. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. Yes, a match no Giants Chris no. Na ye boss what ola. Eti market date no calendar so. 30th May. Yes, show T Havana. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. Powered by Adum FM. Only Adum TV. Mekwesi asene. Nasco. Bring home happiness. Soccer bet. Your best bet for sports betting. The digital if you did Kiss condom. Start with Kiss condoms and go smooth with Kiss strawberry gel. The Havana Park and Restaurant. Great tradition, great entertainment. DSTV. Feel every moment.
African beauty, Deep pepper purple. Purple. And this a water mackerel I would na what African queen mackerel. The wait so we no keke. No punk.
Hello, lady in the Wagadri. Na me was out sama for what you just said.
My hi, your friend me Pamela. Mr. Mami mobile app details na your fan travel to me bio.
Ana me Crawford was to say me free.
Hello, customer experience. You're blocking my account, Mr. Mami pin number na me unblocking.
Mr. Click the link what text message I send one say Ciara. Na ya upgrade one ko yan ATM services for front so.
Na wona me de one ho pa ne wona wo click kan ne ansa na mo dwene ho. Come no cray, like play. Won't crow bit me out of sales and feed mo. Bon who buy. Kai say EcoBank ain't free and I ain't send email and I messaging me sao pin, OTP, bank card and I Ghana card one semda. Ma winning now, EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Say
Fano electrical appliances baby baako pe na obinya de papa na ne buof Franco smart TVs every 32 Ekosiise 100 inches air conditioners washing machines blenders microwaves kettle cooking stoves your Samsung with CCTV cameras any your crystal clear never phones any accessories abi you know that Franco number 1 Bura Franco shop be a benwo nekwajo electrical appliances yatete small first 0246-422-338 and 0555-939311 and www.francotrading.com which me ako app store any play store no download Franco app Franco still phone papa is here
Malaria fever, typhoid fever, body and menstruating, cold and jaundice, loss of appetite, say a punua,
last year massive Afridijai Asempafm UCF Day 30th May Havana Bayade Tama Bayade Wine and Edge UEFA Champions League get ready Asempafm UCF Day yes match no Giants Christian na ye boss watola enti mark date no calendar so 30th May ye shout Havana Asempafm UCF Day powered by Adum FM and Adum TV Mekuasu Yaseme Nasco bring home happiness soccer bet your best bet for sports betting. The digital Efedini Kiss Condom. Start with Kiss Condoms and go smooth with Kiss Strawberry Gel. The Havana Park and Restaurant. Great tradition, great entertainment. DSTV. Feel every moment.
Chedia Kessie, Electroland Ghana Limited, yeah, Mamu, Chedia Kessie for our loyal customers. Because your loyalty deserves more, yeah, Mamu, Chedia Kessie pa. Big rewards for you and me from Accra to Tamale, all over Ghana. Electroland, yeah, number 1. Just buy your favorite Samsung, TCL, Media, and Nasco Electronics from any Electroland showroom or authorized reseller store nationwide. Dial *98*8888# or go to register.electrolandraffles.com and enter our weekly and monthly draws and stand a chance to win big. From TVs, ACs, fridges, gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, mobile phones, and more rewards just for you. Approved by MLA Caritas Platform. Electroland Ghana Limited. Rewarding your loyalty the big way. Terms and conditions apply. Chedia Kessie, Electroland Ghana Limited, yeah, Mamu, Chedia Kessie for our loyal customers. Because your loyalty deserves more, yeah, Mamu, Chedia Kessie pa. Big rewards for you and me from Accra to Tamale, all over Ghana. Electroland, yeah, number 1. Just buy your favorite Samsung, TCL, Media, and Nasco Electronics from any Electroland showroom or authorized reseller store nationwide. Dial *98*8888# or go to register.electrolandraffles.com and enter our weekly and monthly draws and stand a chance to win big. From TVs, ACs, fridges, gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, mobile phones, and more rewards just for you. Approved by MLA Caritas Platform. Electroland Ghana Limited. Rewarding your loyalty the big way. Terms and conditions apply.
Now last year you massive. I feel DJ. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. 30th May. See Havana Bay Day. Tama Bay Day. Wine and edge. I feel you for Champions League. Get ready. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. Yes, a match no Giants Christian. Na ye boss what ola. Eti mark date no calendar so. 30th May. Ye shout Havana. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. Powered by Adum FM. Only Adum TV. Nasco, bring home happiness. Soccer bet, your best bet for sports betting. The digital if you did Kiss condom. Start with Kiss condoms and go smooth with Kiss strawberry gel. See Havana Park and Restaurant. Great tradition, great entertainment. DSTV. Feel every moment.
Over 1900 matches brought us to the football finals month. But history doesn't care about the journey. It only remembers how it ends. The Premier League, Betway Premier, UEFA Champions League, Serie A, La Liga, and more. 8 trophies, 1 month of mayhem to decide them all. Stay connected and watch GoTV to catch the football season finale this May. It's on.
Ayampo, say a quantum ye can unim, na one kubia, na yell satism, and Oma Bebre, na Ghana edition, Nemu won't conformance, the Otia when you beji, and it your rubber.
Your cry, yes, slow at all a year 20 inches. See this yet to be where a crow. Where are you crow?
NT, Tiabruchen Como, Aqua Mankwa, Akuntejo, Eddie Bro was Asempa 94.7 FM. So,
it remain that I say, young woman on it. You almost see a cacra. You almost will who. Yes, Yatia. Yennet Nasia. Yakabum.
Memory Debia, a bonusia, a pemusea, a question of what you change who, or Abruche, said the Yaku, any diabedrufi, the Yahu, near the ye, near the Abba, the Yano, and you can say, ye.
Say, Abruchin come on a dim, tintimpa.
Yabere no ma hodoa, e won conformance so yebetimi dia boa Ghana. Amana fane to ma pefra. O man yimpuntu na ha bot sign. Passport won sensem. Ni nyina ye de bro. E wa Abruchin come dwumadie yi mu. Yebesa so mo akwanya na wa kire wadwen.
Robert David make us free Germany. Kobe. Yeah, Amsterdam. Concept no what for about Jeff we mo wa mana na nemo. O mo atrama na no dia na o mo tipie. O mo kura na so program no mo aso project mo e nwanwa.
Shenison, say me me de bia. 6 p.m. Boganie Abruchin Company.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth.
Oh, Fabia, now what you do say? And who did you know?
Mom, Charles, I toothpaste not that the buyer no. Some education is here, no me no shame, no me go so for me.
Wait, no excuse. Abo frat what sorry no pa. And what say what you true say? A son, where did you? Now, no, so again, sorry. What you true say?
Yes, ma'am. Medical kids toothpaste now, or the buy and run. And they treat me soon.
Why are dear? Cal kids toothpaste, dear. Yeah, mama, fat is someone with the infame you know, opimum fiancia.
Let me the dead, this is a strawberry. Let me see me dimple.
There be any toothpaste and your toffee. Why? Yes, say the Cal kids toothpaste. The mama fra with the infame you know, opimum fiancia, dear to true one say. Every say, a boy is say in one bottle. Ana ashie e pamum wawa e hase ne mana hodin mapa me bomode se me the Kel Kids toothpaste be ma me metwitri wo mo se abribia Kel Kids toothpaste e ma mo frasi twitri ye ni jese
Kel.
1xbet. A good deal is so. Make a game on promo on your website 1xbet.com.gh and our app na so. You find the iPhone 16 this is up 5,500 Ghana cedis. My promo code GameOnGH. 1xbet. I'm gonna help Koso. Anyone in Diagrono. Gamble when you're true. Into channel wa sheyimu. Enye mawana won dimfie dun wache. Gaming Commission of Ghana. Agent Kratoya tum.
Now last year you massive. I feel DJ. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. 30th May. See Havana Bay Day. Tama Bay Day. Wine and edge. I feel UEFA Champions League. Get ready. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. Yes, a match no Giants Christian. Na ye boss what ola. Eti mark date no calendar so. 30th May. Ye shout Havana. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. Powered by Adum FM. Only Adum TV. Nasco, bring home happiness. Soccer bet. Your best bet for sports betting. betting. The digital if you did Kiss condom. Start with Kiss condoms and go smooth with Kiss strawberry gel. See Havana Park and Restaurant. Great tradition, great entertainment. DSTV. Feel every moment.
You need a trusty friend on whom you can depend when things come crashing down. You need a trusty friend on whom you can depend when things come crashing down. Insurance, your trustworthy friend. Insurance, your trustworthy friend.
Millennium Insurance, your trustworthy partner.
African green tea, deep pepper purple. Did you purple? It is a water mackerel I would do. Now what of African queen mackerel? The wait till we do keke. No,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Africom Travel and Tours is calling you for an unforgettable 2026 FIFA World Cup experience in Canada, USA, and Mexico. Come travel, share, and explore together in style. Package includes round-trip international flights, travel insurance, match tickets to all 3 Ghana games, comfortable shared accommodation, and single occupancy for the VIPs. Visa assistance, guided sightseeing across all host cities, daily breakfast and dinner. Ground transportation to all match venues. Standard package $9,300, VIP package $14,000. There is also a fly now, pay later package for corporate entities. Enjoy a seamless, all-inclusive football experience with fellow fans. No stress, just pure excitement. Contact AH Africom Travel and Tours on 059-6374-618 or 050-7344-211 or visit our office at GA-084-3114 Agostino Neto Street, Airport Residential Area opposite the Diplomatic Shop, Accra. Limited slots available. Book now to secure your place. AH Africom Travel and Tours, your trusted partner for unforgettable journeys.
Na last year you're massive. I feel DJI. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. 30th May. See Havana Bay Day. Tama Bay Day. Wine and edge. I feel UEFA Champions League. Get ready. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. Yes, a match no Giants Prince. Na ye boss watola. Eti market date no calendar ne so. 30th May. Ye shout Havana. Asempafm UCF Fun Day. Powered by Adum FM. And Adum TV. Mekueso yasene. Nasco. Bring home happiness. Soccer bet. Your best bet for sports betting. The digital if you did Kiss condom. Start with Kiss condoms and go smooth with Kiss strawberry gel. See Havana Park and Restaurant. Great tradition, great entertainment. DSTV. Feel every moment.
Asempa FM, Ekosiisen, 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 Asempa FM. Obine bado, biba, obibo, obiba, ode, Asempa na bo. Obine bado, biba, Ekosiisen ye bonsoa wo mene sempa de brane mama obi som
ya somo Asempa 94.7 FM Ekosiisen dwumedie no asuguso a otie no mayena munyina ase ne yensan mama kwaba emfa momra Ekosiisen so se ohwa womre na it's some 15 minutes after 5 ye ka say ya Dr. Mahamudu Baumia, a flag bearer NPP, issue statement on democracy and free speech under siege. Democracy and free speech under siege. And when statement away issue, Mekai emunsem amamo na afe yashe edi hon enkomo. Meka say adea NPP member of parliament for the people of Achimda constituency in the Eastern region. The Honorable Alexander Akwesi Akwa Abekansa Ewu Studio. I share him say lawyer Abbas Nuruddin, our CEO SIF, or Sanye Regional Communications Officer ma NDC wa Ashanti region, eba bekayen Ewu Studio ha na yene won so etumi edi enkomo na ansa na mekan Dr. Baumia statement no ede amamo no mamimfa we mu entwem tew na afei yenhwe entimi entoaso Electroland Ghana Limited the Asemdena enam say ene omo ye monthly draw and a weekly big draw in the omo friend weekly and monthly big rewards a World Cup promo omo ye towards the World Cup. Now the omo Kenyans oba wana suye now beto Samsung, TCL, Media, Nasco Electronics, baby awo Ghana hebia ukokotobia. You stand the chance of winning big in the weekly and monthly reward. In the Okoto TV, auto air condition, auto double door fridges, auto grill gas cookers, washing machines, brand beer, say Samsung, TCL, Media, Unya Towia. They also said dial star 928 star 8888 hash and you follow the prompt. And I will call register.electrolandraffles.com. Now I enter a weekly and monthly draw. See, it's approved by the NLA on the Caritas platform. Electroland Ghana Limited, rewarding your patronage the big way. T's and C's apply. Enti mobeshanen so now so far hushem kotobi ne wini big already no ko wa nioma ne atete so dada na o to na wo se wini big eye papa enti monshanen so emayen enye no nko a na the other good news I was beside to jamamo enso efree Emma Ross Home Decor almost say what's dan na what do time was say usiesie dan nim oye de bonifa no fixtures into what water closet or kitchen sink or water taps or water heater or fixing nyina wo fie ni mu a Emma Ross Home Decor na also do any etre asanu man bobo so nenya yento bia keke e wasa wo to de brand near quality Ariston one of the top brands in the world. Nyoma ni nyina free Italy and aba fresh. Yes, I sales. It yema 40% discount. Free na tonyome uto wia nationwide delivery. Free. Ya de beko bebia wo Ghana hebia ya de nyoma ne bebre free e wo our site. Free 0559 650 680. 0559 650 680. Na ka che won se what to say ebo won hu de we ko see sen so na wo pe water heater ato wo pe kitchen sinks ato wo pe water taps ato wo pe WCs papa ato Ariston brand no correct one Emma Ross Home Decor ye showroom ben Kantanka automobile showroom no wa Chimotan kan ha wo Kumasi so ye showroom wo ben Patasi Police Depot Adwanasi Road ne so a wo be hu yen e wo ho ofren akọ ne kotone on yen deliver emfa Emma Ross omo ye adwuma papa eboa Ghana for and sale ne kra ne kumi no 40% discount. It doesn't get any better than that. Enti obehye so na water heater no wako won ho akwa tobi ewo ho ma memfa we ntwem na afi me mekan Dr. Baumia statement na emamo na yenkwa ahoma ne so na afi yenhwe nto ankoma ne so New Crystal Hospital Omoni Assignment Municipal Assembly and Assignment Health Directorate the Assignment Rising in Good Health campaign no but the omu ye nyina ne say ye free screening the amount over 50,000 residents of Assignment and its environs. Ye screening one for hypertension, diabetes, obesity and kidney related issues are ene kum nipa wa Ghana hapa. The here say what the 40 years and above. What the 40 years and above nkwade ye screening for free. Ye shall see March 2026 year end of year na ebebe wiye. So far ye no across the 7 zonal councils wa Assignment. In the so far ye Amuya zonal council. As we speak, ye started Gbemi zonal council the ye. In the take advantage ni screening for free. Ye wie Gbemi a Gbemi de ne be wie June. na yako Black Patona in July, yabe Chinaigbe in August. There's a month be able one zonal council. Na a free screening at the amanko for. At every screening in Sono, NHIS staff ebe how mo be change amount for NHIS card. Udie we be renew amount. Unye bi da ebe for kra at the amount. In the way no, the papa New Crystal any assignment municipal abum eye. Unti bibia se afre 0544 347239 0544 347239 na only one into me any enkomo. Assignment rising in good health, your future, our commitment, and take advantage of this. Now only a test in a long time. Konian screening for free. Na bibia enkoyi ema. Ma minkai the statement from the NPP's flag bearer emfa emamonafe yenhwe enihu enkomo. Asempa FM suni. Ekosiisen ena wasuguso a utie no. Democracy and free speech under siege. I have observed with great concern the endless assault on the fundamental right of officers, activists, and supporters of the new patriotic party across the country by this NDC government. These attacks, arrests, detentions, and unconscionable bail conditions have been a persistent feature of the NDC government since they took office on the 7th of January 2025. The latest of such acts of intimidation has been the arrest, detention, and subsequent release of David Isando for lamenting on social media about the return of Dumso and the bizarre decision to put the NPP Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Bafo Abronye into custody. These actions undermine free speech and are setting Ghana's democracy backwards. I condemn in the strongest of terms the unholy collaboration between the executive, state investigative agencies, and some element within the judiciary to use intimidation and harassment to silence members of the new patriotic party. I, therefore, serve notice to officers of the state who are active participants in this unholy enterprise that the day of accountability will come and the abuse of state power will be accounted for. To patriots around the country, I urge you all to stay firm by refusing to succumb to intimidation while continuing your civic duty to hold the government accountable to its promises. We fought hard for this democracy, and as a party, we cannot surrender it to intimidation from those who possess temporary power today. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Accra, Wednesday, 13th May, 2020. So, and we're here on the letterhead of the Office of His Excellency, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, flag bearer, New Patriotic Party. Honorable Akwesi Akwaba, na apom te saying.
Emi adom obi me ho ye pa.
Bibi ekoyi.
Oh, yegusu kakaka.
Constituency ye boko.
Constituency ye yegu ye reorganization also.
Okay.
Na wo hwe said the amount for nia bre pese omunya kwanya na omu ye adwuma ma party no a.
Yes.
A chance amount for nia bre pa o.
Okay.
Antino akoye nipa ho adwuma sabe obi a preso de ho bajim die piti kakra beba.
Yes.
Na eno de kire o se amanfo ekondo so be ye adwuma ma party de pa. Otie kire a eye bato be mu bia o wa ho den kase a beti bi de pia party the campaign se no an egu so ubeti skabishes kakra ba ko mi ni ade bi, but I think say party leadership no e di omani to for ma hwese e be contain ni nyina na ya makwan na wo mu a wo se omo e di omhojim e be boa party no omo di omhojim boa party no.
Very well. Let me apologize to especially Ghana for mono eya mo radio ebia unika mu a wo drive it. Most of you mu following on social media on YouTube and your stream no amesi app kakra into obesha where the third time at the stream end the ayasen restart and we are now live on YouTube. Obetimi are joining now once we follow discussions no from our studios. Enti end the enrani and nemo de beche we are since you my bibia kamana and yes the internet issues no back fully and we are now streaming live on YouTube. Obawa ubehu honorable Alexander Kwesiakwa ne kaftan e sheno kama ubehu ewa sound so ena the Ashanti Regional Communications Officer for the NDC, Chief Executive Officer for SIF Social Investment Fund, Lawyer Abbas Nuruddin and so ne up and down a sheno kaftan kama
obi da ko also yen one no ka SIF no asemu
yeah, it's true
because also I'm for say dem hunu SIF do mo ye Epsa that gen na adwuma nyina no still on NDC
oh yeah party adwuma
kese pa da no so ni SIF I was say o ma yetia
hu de ekoso it's true one of these days obeba one-on-one SIF one-on-one Social Investment Fund Lawyer Abbas Nuruddin akwaba na pom te sen
bonzo minutes no beje so ya achi ya yetimi abo anan abedru hanedie
yes
na chese ya ne sa
ya da nyame
ya hwehwe ya pa mampanye John Dramani Mahama ne na pamfo de egu akwam so oman no ebefa ne ntoma pa fra no a bibia kire se oman no ekoyie but sebi enye bibia na ebetimi aye no atego ebe nkakra se de wo no aye dey waseye ahwe Yura Mahama abanya de amagana for ye hope oni anani da so asa omusika akoka bang merwafo ne nkokrafo na omotena bonte omonam abonte ye kire nom ne ade no enne yehu sa ne ma ne bio ye levy ye free ho covid levy aye de ye free ho enne enkwala ye bubuafo obi a wadi demo ne nipa kwa ma opese okọ nursing training university polytechnic ni nyina aye de ye free enkwala ekọ first year university dodo no aye papa etia eye sika ama ye de bo mo ho bra and MPP a na sika nko district assembly no na ye twa sika do supu de akọ district assembly ni a show mo say sika ye de aba no fa bi eye chip compound be miensa sese unit classroom block be yenum to boreholes be yensia legacy project a mampanyina kufu adomo say ye fa bi ye de eye na fa sika ne bi nso sesangura ti ama wokọ MMDA so a almost wo ni gym nti no ye beka so man na ye de ekoya na sa na trent ya ye nyedai nya cheso ti mo mi amfa mpaibo enta Yura Mahama ne na pamfo echi sane ye be ya omodo man no ebegina yie na yen aye wo mu no so ye di yie.
Very well. And that's the Regional Communications Officer for the NDC Ashanti Region, and a CEO or Social Investment Fund, and a Moten Kano. But Honorable Kwesiakwa, o flag bearer statement or the Abeya as a party member, no, you are aligned. Oh,
yo Obi Michia Etiofoni Adina MNJ sir flag bearer issue statement sir. In fact, statement no okaya. The last two paragraphs no and many ejehu pa
ehona ye ode
why be the pa last two paragraphs
because all one amanfo no
also one amanfo on say yenuanom NDC for no ebufu a wo de share Ghana fo mu na ma Ghana fo dodo ameto aba wo mu ankombeto aba ma MPP ameto aba ma NPP na ma omutiminya such majority our parliament no ase efufuom ewo mu se ebiso subi emma da
yes
then so omunkan hunu se eye nanka omunya vote dodo edi gina sa gina penya na nka obetimi di omsa abomobo eneni pa meto aba dodo na no enu omo ho enti omunye hunu se ahubrasie mu no awo se omubu man no ma ne so nipa nani enti eyom se eno ano no uko social media na upostu ekawasemu a atemu a yedi wo no echin se ya bechew wo mo so a ebetumi abechi wo mo no na yakwa akwachi wo mo enti asene wo kire bi ndi ho enti ehun be hia se ye be kai ye ho se ya amayofo se tumi na kura wo no eyobi na de ma wo na dachi sa tumi no esesa kai hu no se ubebu akonta because enye tumi wo no ene wo ye police ni wo ye security ni a ye kan ya pe na udimi ka akwachi ni pa no esan se ebi a show party atade ebi na se party bi de be ma odwuma ana wo ye no aso amafo ani no Dr. Baumia Edian say, I therefore serve notice to officers of the state who are active participants in this unholy enterprise that the day of accountability will come and the abuse of state power will be accounted for. Sabi, she abe mwa mi she ka mu na nyo na wa betru susu ntie o. Eye ebi etio bi ekura ene abaya ehyew. Iti hu se nya ho odin na wo de eye saade no eye oman tumi a ye de amawo no man tumi nso eye nyina ye de a ye de amawo atade ehyewo no ne de odi hwehwe card be fine de ye ne tonfo iti no kai hu no se sa tumi ye de amawo no se we ya na wo de be ye de a enkoye na anu asem ni bia ye ba ba mu ozo onya hwe twom ko ne ade no every incident will be investigated na ya hwe se wo no a udi echire yesa no wobu hu nkonta 87 ya mawu instruction bia in quote ya mawu instruction fun bia e wo so otumi dwene hu se dachi bi sa instruction ne de amawu awutu hu na mo no wobebu hu akonta eti eyemede se ya pani no e de ato wosa na nne e wo krata so a e hye ye nkuran ma ye hu no se yenkonko ye o nya hwemu nya mananka ye mu bi no aka se ne ekoso nyina no ye ni etete ho cause ade ekoso de nya de foforo ye nua no mu andisifo ka de chinsa enne e wo ho se ye crime de a mo lawyer for say crime will expire
yes
o da se iti ehia se ye ntwen na ye mra ba mu na mo mekeke bi nkyire ye yansa ya so mumu na no bi a ye wa ba mu de mo kan ya ye de ye ni tu ye se ya mayosam ne yeyo ye agro ne ye ne edie eti no mo no maka gu ho do mo ma social media daroma ye betimi akotwe no eno mo bebu hu akonta ene so de mo ye nso mo bebu hu akonta esa se ne se musubu de mra na ye adwuma emra wo hoi entwem
yes
eti mani age me bo mampani abede eche dada abaso incoming president Dr. Mahmoud Baumia the bona baso say wajina asemi so no dia tudwa say most state actors no am yesa no mon kai hunu say eye tumi bi na mo de yesa nyama ho de nyam ho afa nyam sika bi aha edu pode nka de kai dem o mine sika o mine tumi bi na de amawo na memfa abuse wo other people o mo so ye Ghana for
but say wo hwe in all the examples on our site your site mo Agona West organizer ne de no and site abronya de no
obi me so Agona West de no
yes
at saying okosi billboard ndo twa be post here
as we speak officially enim why he was arrested we don't know why he was arrested
yes
a narrative opposition element be free say enunti and yet say or a post on social media.
That's it.
Which post was said to be publication of false news. And here in the Ghana Police Service was a national security was and why will be far official statement
because why na cheno
yenim
no omaya ye wom na security force obuba ye adwuma musumu ye adwuma obi aye bone mo che no various arms no bi antimi oni apo say me na me ko che no obi antimi oni apo say me na ko che no na adan na enye nwanwa ya ka say ye nua no mandisifo na nwanwa say adichi bia ne hu se ba epie for some time now na what you be na bibia ba edeti abai no na eba beti abai ni wia the person ya de say ene ne yenchew eti yaka to word mo say ai ade we asi a e wo say edi hu nkomo no enche be chi obi o ma wo say achiche no aya manafo no ye enti mo chekura no a de wo say ye ka no ye be ka Obehema obi na wotu bia bibi fufoba na no kura no enko ma enya de boa yen konsem ni bi wo hono mu a o se nke di ba ebosome ade yen hwehwe mu o se di ba ebosome ne ka ho asem Greater Accra Regional Minister semi yen kan wie you omo appeal say on resign because it borders on eccentric remarks no yen kan wie we haven't exhausted it yen timi exhausted yen analyzing something wie na bibi fufa bebom so that's it the omo ya say ene ye mechewu na ye hwesa attention na abekoho ene ye pani abekasa it is the same no just say ene munya ready bo ba chie nyina de ya
ba wo fa abronye de na a court of competent jurisdiction remand no and what are the
remand is saying
so 2 weeks to reappear in court in 2 weeks time
na I started trial no I started case no
say we know I don't know if the same charges and as we different one come the akoko those details no I don't
know so we are in the environmental transparency adwuma I was say yetini ekoso bia ase eno no makwan ema abuse of power bia no eketeli and esutwa because ade na wo ye no uchirem na se ene omamra no ebo ebura obi abehu so to me nya wo dia o mamra kese ne se to me ne ye dia to me ne ye dia ntie de mawa enya wadwe se yede ama wo nti no de ope na wo de ye nti betumi achi nipa na sie betumi achi no sabe judiciary no e wo tumi de ba jo mu bia no so mu chirem uchirem a nipa ne ti ase a wati ase ne ekwe anim so that's it nti no mebo Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia abaso a presidential candidate wakasa say obiara wo na wo sie say wo the state power and e ye adwuma no kahun se state power na nyawo dia e bribi na enche bia ne wa ba mu ene na mu ma ba mu e be dane
very well amas ma memra ohona yenhwe the statement from the NPP's flag bearer fair statement no enya fair
you be meda was no masa acheche for on say obi we Ghana ye buy Fourth Republic nya political leaders bebre especially opposition leaders bebre I see one thing Emma Dr. Bawumia ne conduct any say you see any niama in opposition as an opposition leader ye below par no say he is not firm, he is easily pushed around. Into one say will be a war amanyoku no ya wa assembly oha as a foot soldiers ano assembly oha as a regional executives ano assembly oha as a national executive ano assembly oha as a former ministers ano asema ebeba wo ye flag bearer wo de wano beba betum no na chesa ya asema ye de edimu pa but one thing about Dr. Bawumia I think say M1 image as an opposition leader no yes say means rank ameka se ne sunu ne ban ne ya koye se atentenhu
adentia
ono ankasa as opposition leader he doesn't have a sense of direction inti baby am from abeboni bia no na de nenam. Let me give you a typical example. On the nine miracles abo ageni MPP social media for no she bibia say eye omukuku to na omukoye
the People's Forum
omukuku omukoye na branch bi koye se mahama wo de ye ka
yes
and MPP for no de ye jingle no mo bo no mo kofa niema bebrede ye de ebam. Dr. Bawumia as leader ezi efu di djuma ya to ye nsa afre wo ade a enkwankwa no de yi nsenkwaye ewo abefo ntentan fidie ne so no unya platform a sorry program no o one mindful of even the occasion na was here o de sa ade no koye sa ade no ma nyansabo akwasi edunkati anso nya akwanya no ma obi ahunu se sebia so sebia nya do ase wa ma umpanyi nyono anyedai anedi ebi asa ayedai esine MPP mabunu mienu ya so mo pechi se oma ya de etiamra. Now who was leader the first thing I was say otena se na wo hwe say ampani ampa empanimfo ya de oma ya ne etiamra na ne etiamra asobi a me twe se emre bi beduru a medi mine so no e wo se obi ya de ne etiamra menka so ye mama nyuku ni nti no chenchenchene a menko ka se ye nya no because o ye MPP ni na ne ho ofechen obi anti eni kwan se obumbra so a ye did ne na me de ye ma wreho pa ye abronya a refer ne wo mu no because ade abronye aye no ye very grievous. Abronya koya ade a he's bringing the whole administration of justice into disrepute. Abronya ko threaten judge.
Yeah, but it remains an allegation.
Allegation
which has to be proven.
Abronya say no ne dia so ni mu, you see.
Yes.
Abronya ko threaten judge a wotie adwamu so your political judge. Na judge atare e no kra MPP atare no de won twan obey de obehu. Asa threaten police. So mo your political police no mo twan obehu. Ye wo kromo ha. Emre bi dru under MPP. Yes, owura bi a ye friend no hene babo amabene okay.
Yes.
No wo TVSYZ and another ne Dr. Baumia we vice president o. Yes, wakoka se wakofre justices are no mu di 2020 election petition no unanimous FC. Na omoni akufo ado crash ansa na omo be the judgment. Yes, wakoya ade a scandalize court no. Wakoka asem a bring the administration of justice into disrepute. Ye chi no ye jeli no 3 years obi mebo ana sa abre na Dr. Baumia na vice president o. And now be your opposition leader. Abronya ko committee a similar offense o ye vice president obi ko ye bia ye jeli no. And the war as opposition leader no. O si esansa abronya hu ofeche obi enti no. Boni a obi
ye contempt na nye 3 years.
3 weeks, they say 3 weeks.
Okay, yes.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. Ye jail in 3 weeks. Sure. And yet the longevity of the sentence no. Name the fact that you have even been convicted no. What you say? Adia obi koye ya ye jail no. And the Dr. Baumia will say MPP ni akoye. Am I yenja no because we MPP ni. Now that is what he's saying.
No.
And no na ma reho no ti dia wo pa kire ne say under who leadership as president no so obi ko threaten judge wo be ja na manako that is the implication right senko limiting no to David Sando de no because now the details are a bit sketchy what you say and na Dr. Baumia person o kire say obi threaten judge anya hwe o MPP ni ayenja no manenko and no ya de a obi a wo pressure obeba be di o man so na ya de esesa wo don ho kɔ for mu ana enu ti na meka say enkofo bi na beka kire ne say oh ya tete MPP for in this one sorry no ameka bi amanfo beka say you are not in control ye wo opposition no ye demonstrations bebre sa major demonstration bebre edumre bi na ye yase John Mahama mmabi o hwe ye de o de o pa hwe opposition aye call ye no wo betimi aka demonstration ba kwa ye ya John Mahama as opposition leader obabi none edu ba bia na ye say na adenti na nipa ono ne ye konde aye dai ama no ade aye ye no mfa ne ho nye dai enhyem ba edu mre bi ne ti ase se wo ye pani a ye se panyini kon ho ne ye ho akoma wo ye panyini a eniema bebre wo ho a wo yi hu ye dai efrim asema ebeba a wo pani no odu ano beba betum na wo se ye asema emu eye dai emu odu na wo ye pani wo ye jata na de bia wanim frede wo dwomu a amanfo bebu so wo ye kraman baby e be dura bra wo ye wo pokra obi amfiu. That is where Dr. Baumia is getting to. That's where he's getting to. Obi akọ threaten judge na ya so ni mu and wo kire say yenja no na yenja na wo ba wo be ma omo de mra ye adwuma no a omo protected the sanctity of the court no wo be hold you omo accountable. Now, Ghana for Mujejireje, is this what an opposition leader is supposed to do? But let's put the entire conversation even in proper perspective. On my way, I will no be. Ya de mrana etintim mrano on my no. Na emrano a dear titim on my no. Emma man man fa ahudie bi a saa fa ahudie ne nso no asodie ye dai ewo ho obi wo ye lawyer you know say embedded in the enjoyment of every right are responsibilities.
Sure.
You can't claim to want to enjoy the rights now while turning a blind eye to the responsibilities. It's a right to be any whether right of free speech and any absolute. Obi, even the right to live are the most important, the right to life. It's not absolute. There are instances emra ma ho kwa say yetimi gini pankwa efri nsem meboa ewi ase de na ho hia chan kwa. So is the right to the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, you know, e wo ba bia ekopem. Se wo koke kan sem bia betimi atoto o man asomdwe ase ebegu obi ho fi a emra ma ho kwan se esese ye twe waso. Na de ya me ya ne se enye bredi kan a ye de sa de yi eye adwumani. MPP wo ho ana Dr. Baumia ye vice president no. Omo de sa niema no eye adwuma obi. Obekai owura bia friend Bobi Ansa wa Accra FM. 2022 mu ho. Yese wakoka se ensase aye tonton no wonkran ha no first lady ehun wo mu bi. Na no no de koka yo. Apolice for che no de ne sie ba ye nanan ye hwehwe ne ba bia ne ehun no. Under Dr. Baumia wanya no kwa. Journalist bi ani efre no Caleb Kuda obi ukai. Yese wakotwa apolice for car bi asai isi ba bi
o national security
Blue Gate.
Yeah.
Oni gate bi yese efre no Zoe Abubedu. Kwala mrante wa ye chi omu kohye omu ba bi ye omu yakayaka de under Dr. Baumia wo. Enya no nko obi ukai mre bi yese nkofo bi muntie 3. Obi de na omu koyeye. Yase radio so kasa ya na omu kasa na ko traso. Ye chi omu de omu court ma obi ejeli omu 3 years. Enya no nko obi Apia Stadium yase wakoka Asamba Goma mpanyina Kufuado ho fi na Dr. Baumia na vice president. Ye ko chi no Kumase echekere ne nsa ne 90 se bia brechire e de ne to pick up boot e drive free crime na Dr. Baumia ni nyina ye kasa mu mfumso ya wo
pick up boots there you are
obi upa fra Apia Stadium se sia upa fra me se upa fra Apia Stadium se sia
na order pick up
boot ni de ni free
from
crime
Kumasi
from Accra to Kumasi me say Apia upa fra Apia Stadium se say ye no so okasa wo social media
so almost training 9 and insa
pick up boot from Accra to Kumasi obi because yes wakokasa makasa na ye de atraso na mo abra mo ti akonya so no you punished people for exercising their right to free speech anyama anya de ankoye na ne yabana mo makotena opposition na onkofo enso ekasa ma na traso na emra edi omo a wo se yehunehuna mo basa efoni ya wutwa kire Ghana fo no se wo pani a eye Dr. Baumia wo kasa no sebi onu kresa etoso mienu sani American no only principles only moral scruples bi a wo de ye the air politics into bibia ni na mrante be se kokasa na wakokasa bi I think say it will serve Dr. Baumia's image, it will do his image a lot of good if he begins to realize say position no kra no mudu na motofo na mrante wa no a ye mrante wa ne de obi ujaya ye betwi ubonga wo because ye wade bi a ye friend youthful exuberance ye moja na no ye dey ehye entimpempi no eniama bebre wo ho a ye de akoma na ye de ye wi ansa na ye de ye adwene ho ti abire bi say that e was na na akomianom ne chimensa bonsumo ne eye Fredia Fredo Warren nom what you say omo betwa papa ne ho achia na emma ne nkogugu ne ho ani mu asese se obi akoya ade eti amra obi akoya ade a emre bi obi ye bi a ye de ne tumu na wo se ne obi akoye bi oyo party ni okasama onu ne timi di Canada Japan atemo pa ema wo se Canada Japan se bi ekeka ansem ntino wa meka bibia na chese wo betray no a u twamfoni bi di akere Ghana for say one you are a lawless opposition leader who opposition leader on pese mra ye di abuman no amasumdwe wo mu no on pese betena ho na wo ba on fa mra nye de
but he will not be the first opposition leader speaking in support of the party phobia Omonya issues with the state. The records will show, sir, President John Mahama, then opposition leader, had cause to also complain about similar things.
Dr. Baum, I am not focusing too much even on the David Sando. Yes. Dr. Baumiaka Sano Koye generic or Kasa in generic terms, and Anka one name a year specific a year. It's a Bronye. The Bronye case is a terrible example. Because Obi, or my mu idea why can you bomb keep a semblance of order a judiciary Obi. And this Obi kwa attack judge or TGM. Obi kwa attack judge or TGM. I can someone bringing the administration of justice into disrepute. Now kasa or no you know na ni yenjano na nyesa wo ba obema omo yesa no ya accountable. Not just the legal order you keep in society need to get that no. You don't regard it. When say senko ka obi ade corruption issue say na corruption sensem de bia obi say you witch hunting. What I said that become a sing song for all opposition parties. But there be ho obi aya wakwa attack judge. Na ya so ne pechi na wo cite no example as say as an example like say a criminalize free speech. I think say a rehosem. I think say it is the lowest any opposition leader can go, and I think Dr. Baumia na make us handlers of Dr. Baumia some way bia kadasin kodua bi na beka ya and Kasala Mustafa bi na beka ya what you say and can now ye hunu say ye tutu ni srani abasa ye hunu say mfonso bi wom no and ka ye mfa ho ntansa ne nyede ye nkopo Dr. Baumia maso bi kwa ya de we na ukasa ye nya no a esi pa nti me de meka kosia ne say
but in the statement baby en ho ka so munyai no a quick correction the muntie 3 de no mo sentence na 4 months in
4 months yes me ka 3 months but say 4 months
no ka 3 years bio by and the years now one point
na 4 months
4 months sure na nipa no de ba say me kan chere say in that case so no the current vice president intervened for them when they were incarcerated.
She was a sitting vice president
at the time.
He was a president.
No.
Who was?
He was Muntie 3.
Yes.
Sir, President Mahama
was the president, yes. And then Jane was education minister.
Yes. You see, and you see, Omono yedi omasem.
Yes.
Yedi omasem no one just a president and education minister. Eko kasai. You bua omofo. Yedi omokotum. And tumuna yedi omokotum no. President and Kasa do ye bua mo for say inform nkotumba meja omo omo da mu be ye bosome what you say and na omo sentence no ye remit no you get the point ya pardon omo kra from the one say court bua mo for ye jamu the omo ko da mu kakra the idea was that ade no omo ye no matumbra right from the get go we will not intervene court bua mo for mu ko dem mu da mu kakra the assumption is wa ko tena baby 30 days 40 days ubesua nyansa nti afi de ye de cha okra wo ba what you say hwe the other issue ya NDC so to branch organizer 2024 ya no ko 13 Akufuado kakika nsem basabasa e fa Akufuado ho ya de ne court the first week na na jailing in 4 years I know I'm getting it right anya manzo ye jailing in 4 years ni nyina ya nsem anipa de na no aka ho what you say under Akufuado as president under Dr. Baumia as vice president obi akoka asem wa yese wa threaten president ya jailing in 4 years and now bro nya ko threaten judge me aso ne pa echa Dr. Baumia o sie nja no it is not the best example anybody can say enti me dia me de manusi no asem wa me kan say o manyi ye betimi aye ya manyosem ye betimi edi ho akini ba de ay kura ye no eye the legal order judicial system to be bia wo be attacking judicial system he's attacking the very foundation of our society.
Are you saying this as a matter of principle and a matter of convenience? Because the issue of unanimous FC anywhere it was propagated by you and your
no American say se court etnasena ubua asemwa. We have every right to express our own indignation.
Yes.
Now, okay, Adenta court no tenase we ye no. Afenyo markings be kasai. Okay. Bafo wu a mentia South MP no be there be kasai. Omon sem no mo kasai na nye de it was more or less a harsh criticism of a judgment, you know. By and so be a page identia. But what threatening Ubia what tear Jamu Diasem and as out to because of Najuma or ya. You are bringing the administration into disrepute.
Honorable, I'll come back to you. Yes, Honorable. Quick reaction.
The sanctity of the judiciary. Because the whole Chief Justice, Modi when he see no so that more position, Moba Bamu for the first time. A pair can be so a horn to chain. Sade idea money edi judicial system. Any Ubu was here the manua. And Kayan Kodesa, Sabrino, and a mumma, the sanctity of the judicial etofom. 2. Sa Mama Udi Kay. Mama Nankas or dear Kadan Casacra could never be a cabin. President Mahama.
Yeah, I think he
said, one way Ekas or dear Cano. One more could never be cracker. It is a Dr. Baumia Ekabi. Nasa wo kase ase sirihehe anasa so wakoja baby near there nipa no otia konya so as president no kwa no ayeka sasa fa no kwa ono aka bi e dey asresam so that's here enti no se munya hwenka nasa enne no papa no wayedi Dr. Baumia no wayedi a for some time now sebe ade we akoso ono no daya no ono no di enim. Who expect so on Canada? Just like you rightly pointed out to him, say, and there may be a air course on bra, President Mahama no opposition, and there may be an air course one, and then you know Canada, a movie honoma, not Okasa. It is a way no, the Akosi, I don't know, teacher in seminum, and some yenuna, a kaboom, and I'm a papa natural home statement. It won't be back on Tunchai and Cassa way dear, then that back on the other one here. And there are other forms of arrest. It is a ya. Kofujuwa case is say at the same. So there's here. A Kofujuwa case that say, Bella can see a little so no money a day. I mean, last Saturday news file, Obi who said, a dear equi. So there's here, a dear equi. Sa state power noir. Yadiama Modi a yamra semono. And then all come once some say. Munkan hunu se mubebu hu akonta so fu se de wo ye no eye ni papa edu bra ye bu nkonta no a na wa kire ni papa mu obi anka so ohun ehu bia
FM
that's a we public officer na so bi ka wo se nkonta bu wo ho a e de na wusuro aye na mane how so that's it because e bia wo refiu hu nti o se ka wo aje code of conduct ye de ma mu a e wo se nke bo mo nantie ne mo hihye ho ban e wo madwuma im ne arekwa no ya to atwe ne baabi niema ekoso nyina no kyerɛ code of conduct no ya twere e ba ye keke so that the dear kaimo se 2 million dia mamu no enye mo amodia eye omanfo ne dia mamu na ye ma 2 million ehun kuntabuo e wo ho
very well. Yes, last one
Chief Justice Asema Okofa befrɛ mu na me de ye me na kakaba ohwe ya bakwasemu anya bredi kan ya Chief Justice bi to akonya ne we in our first republic Uran Kroma Chief Justice and your friend Justice Akokosa na say akonya mane kofinti but I felt I should set the record straight as a way of public education but not than 10 you protected the sanctity of the judiciary. And not just will be a member of the judiciary. No one can say them rano, Ashan and Sano, 1 to 2 year.
Who determines that?
And no say your constitution naturally a kwanya your first one will be a sebi utemweni na wanye the jumeya yam faso and yet the Indian free one on the article 146 mebwa. I just stated misbehavior, a infirmity of the body or mind. And incompetence. What you say? In this your farm requires near the you when you say you buy any opportunity in free office or for through the process. Now to mean any breach in the process now can say no that will not qualify as breaching the sanctity of the judiciary. And that is what I think honorable should know. Now the other issue about David Asando on someone more can clearly it cannot be the reason for his arrest. So our coach said Dumso is back because Obi said Dumso is back. No run a car any a coach and the end Obi said Kau crowd and Kawasi Abechu because I'm saying Dumso by he said okay be Nanabi Mujina police headquarters when you are normal to do sabu do identity anchi omunina. So clearly that cannot be the reason why.
But why has there not been any official statement?
I think that the security agencies and so can do the public a lot of good.
Yeah, but there's narrative say 2 cars the police for 10 fully armed
by letting us know the reason TIA day yakosone perch. Obi me there. I think so be obey wa adwene say obe sumo man in any capacity no. I was so young so join funu any kwan say usuro sekan. Inherent in the quest to serve in a public capacity no is the duty or the responsibility to open yourself up for accountability when called upon.
Yeah.
Obviously undi boni anwa police ni ba wonya dey undane what I say. And there are several occasions and go for some man aban bi ba ya no fi say omudwumadie no bibi etochema ode omo ekogina aseni bia omo wiye omo fa omo hu di ya na omo hu yeso te sa abrobe. And this a free omanfo say omumra na omo emebu omudwumadie hu akonta. That in and of itself no should not raise an alarm and as I should not create any uneasiness within the opposition say ye tata omon crofo ebia emre ko yanimo na Dr. Baumia yakofre say PDS de oye wo mu no be yi anu a ema ne amanfo nkoka say eye sabi political witch hunting because omanpanyin mahama kra ebas ye de no koma eye special prosecutor obi meboa enti accountability there. Oh, a public servant under no circumstances and also through accountability. And Ghana, ya kabibamin cabinet in a drube be say, Onya bonnet, Obebu, Obedi, or my so and I say a deal or my Jumedi Bishams, I want your bonnet. Naya chill, yes, yes, and say Emperor Samoanti, ya de Uko to one, I say, intimacy. Yeah, Chiwa, you are afforded all the procedural safeguards that an accused person is entitled to under Article 19. You have a right
in this case, you don't do that. You don't respect their rights to, for example, I mean, the issue of extraordinary bail conditions. And Dr. Bamia even referred to that in his statement.
Say, no, America say, so as some no more can be a lawyer, wouldn't say. The bail sum, more or less, is dependent on the amount involved in that whole criminal enterprise. What is that
always?
That is supposed to be. Na say bail sum. Na bail sum no so onerous and excessive as to amount to a constructive refusal of bail. You have every right to go to court for a variation. Obi meboa. You have every right. Kofi Juma de ya de to ne so a yes swing. Or court.
It's been varied.
It has been varied. So what is the issue? On to amasemo mo canobi. And no make so say on that basis intino they are being denied their right under Article 19. I think sir, it is not correct. One, Obi Ayachinibia is being granted the right to a fair trial. Obi Beba is being granted to a right to a fair trial. Obi Anu Ayachinwa. You didn't have a kangaroo process. Obia, you're entitled to legal representation. Have that right been denied? No. Obia, you're entitled to be afforded adequate facilities to be able to establish his defense. And you know, your friend of pre-trial disclosures. Court say, Ansan, you have do some crano. In Yaswana, dance here be our mind the world, they both do the young farmer. Ain't it, no, be betting a casse. Under the current say the young family so you kwa the bail sum at all so court beverly what you say so adia one institution you have every right to go and mumubi avail himself of that particular service no you the bail conditions have been varied. So what is the issue? No, I'm a person say Ghana, our democracy is so entrenched, our legal system is so matured and developed. Say at every point in time, you know where to go for an appropriate remedy. But that should not be used as a justification. Say any kind say will be our year because if you want some more can yes say. A Japade bia na wo ge hokum no no afa kwati kwan so sabi aledo se waton e de aman ho na wotwe bia no se abrante de wo si kuro ma wo se sika ye de e wo botom into give
I don't know, almost say the matters has got to do with Aboso glass factory.
And only one bit of it. And the other bit, and then you say branch you will see Krum na what you be, I will say Sikawu Botum, Tina what you be a no share. Here you sika between 40,000 to 150,000. All of that are alleged. Send some way you no cry. Obi untimin kase. Sebi me to a me social investment fund. Sika any coin say me fa na me yesi wontino me say na what you be a intwama me na ban bia ba na ohwema untimin kase a political witch hunt. What I say? And I woya na mra ne so mu na mra ne wudi a. Untimin kase sebi wanyini na woya dey. Wo yare amani ama hunu yemfa nya dey yemfa tutuka. What I say? Eyo owura bi a friend Victor Salome. Ebra MPP for di na asem no na nakoma sebi kra say ya de afidie na bua no ma ne home. So MPP for hu ni mobo ye de ni kojina akwa because almost the law is no respecter of persons. What you say? Enti media the American say MPP baby omo wo yi omo gina from. They are standing in a sinking sand, in a quicksand. Na wo gina from na obi usa apepre a obemem. What you say? Which na from now person pia. I was say abutre na we ya oniama kakra niama mo be ya wo Ghana and it's fresh in the minds of Ghanaians. And nunti in the history of Ghana must suffer the worst and most humiliating defeat. And yes, Ghana for Sebi Obi 1.7 million obi ani wa lose by that margin that. And yes, Ghana for Sebi omo yes ade no mo nim de omo yewu. Se mo betimi ayama mo ho mubetimi adware ama mo ho asafi ama Ghana fo agye mo atoma e wo samo sesama kwan mama nya mo adwe sa ade no amoye ya ye to obetu am na no ana mo be mo ye sa ade a ene mo amugyegireje.
I mean, I say, let me read some few messages and then I come back here. Any other business near the common barrier. WhatsApp number or messenger 0548 443 523 0548 443 523. Obi, what makes these arrests bad and condemnable? Is it selectivity and abuse? Even as we speak, there are many people who support this government and are always using insulting language and abusive utterances on the opposition and other people, including past presidents, chiefs, and yet there's never been any arrest. If someone allegedly referring to judges as political is tantamount to the arrest, then the entire communicators for the NDC should be in prison by now. What didn't they say, including JM himself, about judges? Abbas should know that if there is a leader who is indecisive, then it is John Dramani Mahama, who even wrote in his book that he's always had challenges being decisive in making right decisions. JM's actions are not the standard for Bawumia. That's why Dr. Bawumia doesn't mount stages to use insulting language on people who disagree with him. Starsky all the way from the US of A. And on the way, a brain Starsky Yadase. Obi, Abbas Nuruddin Esquire must withdraw his statement that Dr. Bawumia does not have a sense of direction and that he is like Atentehu. This is an insult in the Akan language. This sort of communication must be stopped. The security operatives picked someone up just recently because he described an MP or DCE not fit for his position. Abbas too must be picked up ASAP. Gusty man. Ewo brekum. And on the way, a free ho, a brain. Gusty man. Yadase. Papa. We say, Obi, tell Abbas that when the table turns, he should repeat what he just said. We're a different person. We say, Obi, I wonder the comment Honorable Akwesiakwa will make on how NDC is arresting NPP members. He is treating NPP members the same way
in the branch election
in Achim Oda. I'm a victim because I criticized him and demanded for the promises he made to us, even on your show. My name is Emmanuel Kra. And the Honorable William about very well. We say, Obi, we were in this country when lawyer Sami Jemfi threatened some police and military officers that they will be, their tenure is coterminous with that of the president. And other HFSK, Ewa Dan Suman, and on the way abraying. Obi, tell lawyer Abbas Nuruddin to leave Dr. Bawumia alone because they did more than this in opposition. Obi, good evening. I am an MPP member, but I really like how the NDC gentleman speaks the local language. He can pull up for the communications director for the NDC. Abbas is tough. T4 or in Sawim, and on the way are praying. Obi, good evening. A whole John Dramani Mahama called a sitting Chief Justice the woman organizer of the NPP. Do you remember Unanimous FC2 Kofi from Koforidia Odie Enono? Obi, you sit there and cannot correct Abbas on the many falsehood he's peddling on your platform. He mentioned Muntie 3, that it happened under Dr. Bawumia, which is blatant falsehood. Please correct him. In Wadosti from Osino. That is not true, Ankasa, but that's fine. Let's move on. Obi, the CID boss and some judges were threatened by other journalists. What is the man talking about? Okay. Let me continue. Where's Obi? I pity lawyer Abbas Nuruddin, an appointee expressing such endorsement to these unlawful arrest of former appointees. He should be mindful that he is equally a candidate for the same arrest as soon as the government changes. As for reasons for the arrest, the government at that time will use Raymond Archer's method and bake conditions for him. May God be with him. Silas upon Odie. Bawumia say, he said those in charge of making the laws work should do it as the process is mandated. So what is Abbas Nuruddin talking about? Gamel or Ewutu Obrachere and I will know the way I praying. Lot and lot of your message, but Yemreno Echo, Honorable Alexander Akwesi Aqua.
Obi say the wokan why you do
almost say Oka Assembly. Na impugn criminality. Nipa no wo ho kwan say we yi no ho no. Say ne Abbas kai say
sure.
Yachi obi say o say insase a yeto won kan no first lady ehun wom. That one it borders on criminality. The first lady no be per say obi tu anamo bi na the din ho.
And then once you know for defamation ye kwache no.
Oh, because it depends on what method you want to take. Me, in my case, I have a radio station. And then this gentleman alleged, say, radio station now an illegal connection. So that's it. So I tasked my manager to go and report himself. Because per who I am, my radio station doesn't have to do illegal
connection.
It, you know, my manager reported himself at the police station and said, "Wait na yaka." And you see this gentleman, no, your dear baby, because what court, ya cry the shade, say, yeah, ma and some no boko, and one sign bond.
Okay,
say, because he is on record to have said, say, also no major me, more mortuary near me. Or to make us a meton parts.
And the wakansem.
It's sending now, and the same age as well. Kabadis and court or the baby cry.
But no, no, the Niquancy channel. Law, no borders
defamatory.
Is defamatory in nature, and the remedy lies in civil law.
But you see, even
you know, and that's why the conversation around the Electronic Communications Act and even Act 29. Because once there is an offense in Act 29, it covers DNA. It leaves the person with options. For example, if the Nipa can say, "Oh, Tony Nipa part," a publication of false news. In this case, they intended to create fear and panic. It can come under Act 29, which will be criminal. It depends on, and that's why we can say, going forward, maybe we should, if we really want to ensure freedom of speech, But that would also mean freedom of speech without any safeguard. Then we should even repeal section 208 in Act 29 and also look at section 78 or 7 in the Electronic Communications Act and also about publication of false news through any electronic medium. And I know it has been criminalized even in the Electronic Communications Act. It said the okay, it throws out options for you.
Go beyond that because see, managing or operating a morgue is a legal business.
Absolutely.
What do I say? And my business is separate from my personality, and it borders on confidence. It is that is it. You understand? Sa illegal connection at the end. And also by ya pa na opacho sa say usre and your temper offense
na your party ni
on no say so a party but ko platform so odi obi atem sa party for odi obi atem sa adan last 4 years no police station aye
so mo born e ma
and when ya anye
eti police station ni mo
and say ni pay ya kan ho asem ya
obi asem ni me video dey say ahafo ano
tepa ma wo mo ho se kan
enko for the hospital bed so ne ade o ahafo ano north ahafo ano north constituency okay. Indeed, apparently the member of parliament issued statement condemning the attacks, but there are pictures.
These are the things Dr. Baumia's opposition leader should be issuing.
There are pictures of that hospital there. Honorable Nana Ajiman Prempel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ashanti region. So me I know.
Yeah, Ashanti region.
Obi on say asemwa ekoso aye kan.
Tobo man finance.
Honorable Nwe.
Yes, honorable.
Enti and 70 people ho no man na make yeah politics here. But yanhwe ya dachi obia odi ne huni na ompe fibia won ho bia no obedwaneja politics. The basa no a woni mu nkofo ebeja politics amon. Obi on ne mfa no ho odi obeka bia mfa mo me ba be pe bia ko. So they say it no as much as say ube criticize hwe say ewo kwan ye be fa so na a creative discussion near hwe say betimi improve your governance system na o targeting the pan say as do nipa no personally there and nipa no right to say or defend it no so they say it is your card when you acquire the better bigger platform so but because at the end of the day no and something also way after sir the okokota omo finding no me manager kwa say okoye contempt defamation.
Yes, indeed. Now those two options are available.
Then I make part of some munchaso because at the end of the day no
at least criminal the end day when he is convicted he will be sentenced.
That's it.
But defamation the ubenya damages
and I'm so munchaso because anya no is under board was sign board say
yes
bio you know what the better say no the enemy jam no makomedi na Obi Omajika kefi no
Nana ya Champem Jantua says Obi good evening, how are you? It's sad that the NPP speak like they did some good by Ghanaians. They were the worst performing government ever and yet they have not regretted for the way they treated Ghanaians. DDEP, COVID levy, etc. His Excellency Mahama is doing great and marvelously well.
Oh, you butter.
How can you compare 1 year 6 months to 8 years of non-performance? From the seat of our nation's presidency, Nanaya Chempim Jantua, anyway, Abba.
Presidential.
Oh, yeah, presidential
staffer.
Yeah, presidential.
Nanaya Chempim Jantua, Papa. Make our sending me BBC, sending me a baby every month.
Oh, okay.
Saturday, 23rd May.
A year
because a year Ahinema Kokobe.
Oh, okay.
Now we are modern Abbas in Cyprian Anglican
Church
Cathedral.
Kumasi.
Obi, okay, say if you mean when you na ye tata bayi. Yeah, agroba so if you and then say any kaso. NDC for no one kasa.
Almost a day.
Almost yenkuye kura. And director for operations presidency. I say there is a clear gap between party.
Mustafa.
In some they were Bruce because I mean.
But Obi always
I mean. What I say? Because obu no call from name kala ko ye adwuma. Na oman no ma ye den. Ye nyina so oman no ma ye dia se ye besu. But omo ko ye adwuma ne dia mo so omo. Se ye nka Ghana for nka nka sa. Omo ka se ye.
Obi o say.
Eju di me nka say ayi
Femi
Hey, but Honorable Sampine, your former mayor. Obi, it baffles me when the NDC rants about Dr. Baumia's comment on the unnecessary arrest and incarcerations. And Abbas Nuruddin sit in your studio to spew disrespectful language, all in the name that he wants to be the National Communications Officer. What didn't John Mahama and his NDC say in the past? The Honorable Sampine Ediao, the
Sampine said, Ope Vice Chairman,
National Affairs Vice.
Yeah, names I was say, you're telling no one.
They say there's a complicated being the NDC. Complicated so NDC now, I come negu. Now, number be about
can say, oh, Beyonce. MPP be a yakwa opposition, the class or money you. Opposition enough for fraud, movie say. Because, sir, ultimately, Him Eka say. A memoir Yera Mahama Ebuno and Yena Ghana form pa. Na as a Udi Ghana for feel will be a Krumha and 2022. You say Russia Ukraine war.
Yes.
Not dollar was 7 cities here, Niti na do 17 cities. Ubi na a year petrol. November 2022, make a diesel, it could do 102 Ghana cedis per gallon, 106 Ghana cedis per gallon. Ubi never Russia and Ukraine war, that's so whole. You are saying America, Israel, Iran war.
Yes.
And if Russia and Ukraine war is equal to 106 Ghana cedis per gallon of diesel, Russia and Ukraine war plus America, Iran, Iraq war is equal to X. Find X. Obi. So war bako 80 ma petrol. It could do 106 Ghana cedis. War me nu and think I was 80 ma petrol could do by 200 Ghana cedis. But ne enu 70 Ghana. It's because of prudent management. It is because Abano have built resilience. Obi what I say. Abano have built some economic resilience. Bia Amaya ye immune to some of these global economic headwinds. What I say. And the MPP for the Mamu nunu mo mamu na dama na oni MPP ni bia kasa power will change and the future is pregnant na say mo no a say be moda form no mo na mo sa ebo obi a wo mia wo kon ne ntre ha obi tie ne ye obi wa wo da form no a say be yamia wo kon mo ni ha han no
yes
ona wo say kasa wo die jai na me sorry a wo be hu dia me de be ye wo be ye din ya se obi ade san na say bi wo no wo yere be da say ke hye utrim and I could deal with so and crack. What I say, Ubia knew how Kukunipa or Krasami Kukunipa a day about what I say. Into the Nea opposition is a Una power, the other Bay and Camanania de Asia trim and so. Now, one would opposition, all said threatening, say 24 years time over opposition. Now 24 years time, now offer Kwasiaka now, not some pie with him. And the people for Muntia break. Maybe the Obi, I think, say. What Dr. Bawumia as an opposition leader should focus on is repairing the fractured MPP. Obi adia omoye top-down approach na omoye no. A weaken omo party no because Obi the akwayene say ene ya said the system no is skewed naturally towards Obi bia support Bawumia. Obi bia wan support Bawumia polling station for mu yi wo manim so mo ye kan fo nyina no and na obekọ na yi udi afrim eno na ama makọ wo mo ho nsekan wotepa no ene MPP ekoye polling station election a it is say the Taliban for ko enhiamu obia wo bafo ehye boham
obia person
na yase obi na nka polling station election the second koye dey wo ho da woni pamienu sekan wotepa wo bi
enfa
Ashanti region baby obi ya pipi omo sha atepa na meka ya woni pamienu sekan mo da hospital eno na obi kan wasem no
police dey found some evidence of column this discussion
obi and MPP
what this discussion when they say premeditated
obi and boninti no police station election no ye no anajo 1:30 anadwo 1:30 abaifo kra kwa atuo no ma beda no
I say 24
now that's any that's any peboni edinti
I say 24 hours
ade be chi animu betete wo be sori house oh ya ade na anadwo dada
24 polling station elections
that is what they are doing
obi 24 wo mutimi ye bia mo
ayo obi ye Canada Japan ko fo nyina ye dey Ephraim na we are political party we opposition leader wa be di party anim na nipa de udin eyi nkofo bi o mu fi se omama wa fa Ephraim a obi de na oye de be kwakọ wi ane se de no sabi enyanye ye kura na nne mu yiye mu yi na isa ye be chi nkate pa ma na bia ye nya bi nwe de ene ye be boja mama nkate na hye na ye dey na ahwere ye nyina enti aida se nipa dodo na e be dwane ade omo ho akoka the base for ho anase bi be ye takra wo jem e bi be ye hwe otiri hwa wo che dia broni obi omo wa ade ani mu pa so no mu boja ni ma wo se jane so no na omo so di nsu agina omo num na omo pugum edi MPP and about Mustafa MPP and about mi ade obi me so omo brebre me nka so omo wu omo fa nko but if this is the kind of leadership Dr. Baumia is going to offer, I think that MPP is going to be in opposition for a very long time.
Madam Abbas Nuruddin, I have just about honorable Ubefa Emrena Akana Mpese Mebusa me obesi man parliament a hot job ko.
That's what say honyo. Sa say honyo. Na mare hosem ba ko ewo mu ni say enue hu akadwe mu kakrai. There's been some sharp attempts by the NDC to disown him.
Adey.
Why?
Yo, check social media.
Why?
Asante Atem no FMP no.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
I said yeah, me and yeah, because yeah, me as a parliamentarian, no, mean this no, or you my colleague. What does say? You bompa ya mano, no money ade. Na mo
Asempa FM.
Opti say obe join them kokot so money ade. Oni ma ya adwuma sa no money ade. Afi am for 30 year right time so or independent candidate. Okokoso okamo. Okamo ho ti dey tin na wo so butwu mo fu mo. Mo nya sa ade no. Mo yes am ya timoden. Yes, I'm a tumodin, and a precope a month for say a branch to say by less a bar no until a month for you don't say with your own seat on message. You understand? And Bassa no, I quite say, dependent you on the CA, it is say, maybe a ye. But them who told me, so me, yes, I may born one of the Miami, near the and no, a hammy. I have so check you social media. There's been some serious attempt to say, yeah, bet you if you know, but to say near Yedika Kano, early days, yes. I mean, in some the woman, a fee and a year baby details, details, no. Nah, it's been but among whom know the kind of pressure that comes on MPs. And until we know, Bijidi say, ebe ko be ene hunu de tuo mu paado amanfo beto mbo se parliament hodo anya dia sika bi ku hodo mu a ye kokosesa nya de pressure head amanfo so pa
obi on say honorable okay from pon asem aba no ye nyina nam say aboy pusa kakra na de ma asem no nso emu ye wiam ne say sese ya ye kasa no yenhu asem na bose ankasa asem no yenhu de tue mu ankasa.
That's true.
On obi enu ntina me say sa asem ba na se bi asem no nhunu nu nkosi ase a empepere wo hu se bi enkosi ginaye won se ne esetie the fact say obi yenyina ye kuo ba ko no enkire se bi eso se bi anyado obi ye be ya abahye bone obi ayade na enye kwa ye se san so kan ye hu ntino what ya say ba se obi nso nye bibia na ye hunahuna ne de a eye ya sodie se ye ne a sebi ye ne no ebomani no
yes
ye bo aboso ye de igina ne enti wo behwa parliament e the statement abase o money
yes
diplomatic mission e wo Hague e hwa asem de wo mu ankasa ne ehunu de be de ye be ye nyi ne man na ye kasa ye ka akwa akira obi ani mo okay frimpon say he was a card bearing member of the MPP. Na primaries are mo primaries are require bo mafia no and man yes obeko independent.
What does make
I'm not in any way disowning him. Oba parliament no see on ye na ye the fact say wa ba parliament on NDC adwuma na obi NDC as a political party ye nya bashabone ye mfoa bone so wo kan ye ho na wo nya bone na ye tatawa ye begina ne akoama wo ba so wo kan ye ho na ukoya ade na sabi enya untimi nka sa woka ye ho nti no wakoye bone nti wo se wo fa ho de yeah we don't operate like the MPP nti say American no the details are quite sketchy. And for now, what we need to do, I say, you be holding your horses.
Okay.
Near where the ebeba. Na ye hunu mwa ye de be dey. Ye betimi de aboa ye nuan as usual MPP Asempa ye enye ibia no. O ma try say o mo be score political points and NDC e disco no and o come ho. And I say no obi no betena. Obi be kokoso with you and say say your member. Obi say onim sa. Obi be kokoso with you in parliament and say o party no ye dey o ka ho obekaya yewura kwesi ndum o contest commander dina eguafo abrem on the ticket of the CPP.
Yes.
Obekokoso with MPP amanan lusu ni CPP ness no kopem ebra ono aka se wajai aba MPP.
Sure.
Yewura Fred Blay o contest
CPP, yes.
No CPP yes. Ni obekokoso with MPP.
Okay.
But man, MPP do mrebi no no eja ye there by into no abo ye MP. The fact that an independent candidate is caucusing with the majority minority caucus does not mean say we lose or no any political coloration and independence.
Sabdo wa huchemu de nke hu nya se mo be chere na se be
bisa. Obi anche na se una wa ba ka se we ya ye say we ya ye say.
Me tell so
obi anche na se enti na nsem wa keka ni social media tasse de ba hadia.
30 minutes after 6. Ekosiisen On Asempa. Many thanks to Abbas Nuruddin Esquire and Honorable Alexander Kwesi Akwa, MP at Chimdan constituency. Medidio Saibos will be back tomorrow. Emma Emra so say a day Asempa Yitia Ebetwamo. So good evening.